rid of the beast.
Since the first big freeze in 2015, this movement has grown into a force of nature.
Everyone out there in the community got behind $1, $5, $10. Every dollar counts, every dollar gives us hope.
The generosity and unwavering spirit of the community has inspired change and fueled hope. This year, we're daring everyone to live it forward, to live in the moment, to take bold steps toward a brighter future for those living with MND and in memory of those we've lost. Big Freeze 11 is more than an event. It's our signal to the world that the fight to find
It's just an amazing sight.
If anyone needs any more inspiration, look no further than Neil Danaher. He epitomises the selflessness, courage, determination. Everything, not just the footballers, but everyone inspires to be. And this is a pretty special moment right here, right now.
Crowd on their feet to celebrate the Australian of the Year, Neil Danaher. Such care and respect and admiration. Both captains joining Neil. The Danaher kids are celebrating.
I suspect you'd hate all the fuss, Neil Danaher, but it's a wonderful show of respect for teams coming together on a day like this, an occasion which is so much bigger than football itself.
Absolutely. As I said, if they're not inspired to run through brick walls, these players now, they never will be. It's as inspirational as it gets. And now we've got a really good game of footy to look forward to. As we said, obviously the Pies are the benchmark, but the D's are in pretty good form themselves.
Yeah, just watching all this from close up was Eddie Betts and Brad Johnson. Come in from the boundary, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you, Howie. Yeah, look, when you look at the captains and the coaches, Eddie, on these occasions, you actually don't need to say a word to the playing group, do you? Because the emotion of what they have just experienced here, and everyone here at the MCG, 85, 90,000 people standing ovation, that says enough in terms of motivation for today.
It was pretty special. And, you know, the man himself, Neil Danaher, has been fighting this beast for 10 years, you know, in research to try to find a cure for this. And so he's an absolute fighter. And like you said, you don't need any inspiration to play footy today. There's all the inspiration right there. He's an absolute superstar and a fighter.
Certainly is. And then we go obviously onto the field now, and it starts in the middle of the ground. Max Gawn, All-Australian ruckman. He's up against Darcy Cameron, who could well and truly challenge for that spot this year. Darcy's been in fantastic form. He sets the midfield alight here for the Pies, gives them burst use on a regular basis. And I think he likes the fact that Pendlebury and Sidebottom are back around him to help guide and instruct around stoppage.
I think you're exactly right. But for Darcy, I think he needs to push forward. To get forward, kick some goals on Maxi Gawn. That's how you beat him. Get him around the ground. Go forward and capitalise that way. And then you utilise your mids around you.
Well, we wait and see today how it's going to be a great battle between Max Gawn and Darcy Cameron.
Absolutely, Brad. Huge crowd in the house. certain players as Darcy Moore gives them a rev up your eyes at court too. We heard from Cozzy Pickett in the lead-up. Relatively quiet last week. He was tagged by your former team, Joey, but MCG, big crowd, big stage. Keep an eye out for Cozzy.
Yeah, you think he's going to embrace today to try and bounce back after last week. And to be fair, if Melbourne are to win this game, Jace, they're going to need their best players to play at their absolute best. When you talk about Max Gawn and Cozzy Pickett, interesting to see the matchup. I don't think Collingwood will run with a tag, but I suspect as soon as he plays in the centre bounce and hangs around the midfield for a little bit, he goes inside 50. I think they'll have a matchup for him. Whether it's Quaid or is probably my guess. I think that's probably the best matchup for Cozzy Pickett, but he's a match winner and he's capable of turning it on today.
Yeah, it's a big day for the D's. They look like they were just starting to get things back on track before that pretty average performance last week, so a big opportunity on the biggest of stages today.
Christian Petrarca, 12 months ago, injured his kidney and spleen here. So much heartache, but he's back and firing again this season. Players and fans have wiped the tears from their eyes after an emotional pre-game, and we're underway. Holding free to Oliver, straight out of the middle. Full house, MCG. Beautiful sight and a magnificent feeling to be in here for this and for the last hour and a half. Oliver heads long. He gets inside 50. He didn't go for it in the end. Petty went, gave to Pickett, crunched. And more than crunched. So free kick.
Well, early signs. Ed Langdon looks like he's going to run with Nick Dacos. You see him working him here at the stoppage. Wherever Nick Dacos goes, Ed Langdon goes.
So Keziah kicked 5 goals for last time here against Sydney. He had his lowest possession tally of the year and no goals last week against St Kilda. He wasn't himself last week. Doesn't make the most of that chance.
So a couple of matchups. Stephen May has got the matchup on Jamie Elliott, fullback, full forward. I bet young Harvey Langford, his first season playing on steel side bottom.
I mentioned Langdon on Nick Dacos, but every Melbourne player he runs past stops and bumps him, puts physical pressure on him. They're going to try and work Nick Dacos over.
Quaynor to the wing. Gorn muscled out of the aerial contest. Been raining for about 48 hours in Melbourne, but it stopped 2 hours ago and it drained so quickly. And insufficiency paid early.
It was almost as the footy gods and the gods in general knew it was Neil Danaher's day. And the sun came out as the big free sliders got out there. Lever went up. McCreary Crumb. Langford can't get away. He's been a revelation this year. Contender for the Rising Star, Harvey Langford. They picked 6 in last year's draft. Or picked 5, really. They made a bid for Levi Ashcroft. Didn't get him, so took Langford after that. Kick to half forward. Dowie is having a great season. Couldn't quite trap it. Lever. Turner. He's become a defender. And he's become a good one. But that's cut off. Chris back inside 50. Elliott in the pocket. He has been in sensational form. Jamie Elliott. His last 4 weeks he's kicked 6, 1, 5 and 5. And he goes to the pass to his partner in crime, Bobby Hill.
Really interesting watching Stephen May off the ball there. He let Jamie Elliott go on a lead. He was protecting sort of the 15 metres out from the top of the goal square. So I'm not sure if that was by design or he just thought better of it, but slow start.
He's a big moment, man. North Smith medalist in game 100. Wow.
To let off. If you do not take care of the ball exiting your defensive 50, you're going to find yourself in trouble. Melbourne perspective, they turned it over and nearly got punished straight away.
Pickett misses one end, Hill the other. The excitement machine's in the game early. Gawn sets himself. The big fist from Howe. Oliver sends one back the other way. Howe again. And Melbourne have got an opportunity through the middle of the MCG. Just down in the path of Sparrow. Stops, waits, wants to play on. In the end, he sends it deep at home! Melbourne with the first blood on King's birthday.
Well, It's important that Melbourne get off to a great start. It was a set play coming out from the kick out. They went long down the middle to Max Gawn. Didn't quite take the mark, but they had numbers there to back it up. And Kate Chandler's work through the middle was exceptional. He danced through 3 or 4 Collingwood players. And then he was able to get the kick forward to Sparrow, who was then able to just go around the man on the mark and kick the goal. But important that Melbourne start well. I've loved watching Ed Langdon's work on Nick Dacos. Joey, it's to start with, it was an old-fashioned hard blanket tag. No interest in going for the ball. It was just all over him.
He's really trying to get under his skin. So you can see the centre bounce. Petrarca, Pickett start in the bounce. Sparrow and Langdon start at half forward, but then they're almost flipping. They'll come up as midfielders. Petrarca and Pickett will play more that mid-forward role.
So back in the middle, Gawn and Darcy Cameron. That'll be a great battle within the battle. Both contenders for All-Australian. Pickett out of the middle. Gets into the hot spot, dump back. Langford couldn't quite. Long tried to go between legs. Chandler hassling, lays the tackle, keeps it in. As Jason Dustin will told you, good start for Kate Chandler.
Yes, and there's the handover, Joey. So Langdon doesn't start in at the centre bounce, but now he goes straight to Dacos, puts the arms around him.
Game 69 for Chandler. He's a nuggety little character. Pendlebury, Oliver, a couple of big names. Footy spills out the back. Melbourne hemmed in. Oliver toe pokes it forward effectively. Petty, Fritsch within range, finds the boot. Moore's there as he so often is. Just wobbles it out of defence. Didn't time the ball. McVee chases after it. Mychek doesn't get the bounce he's after. Another opportunity for the D's.
Started well. Salem was asking for it back. Now he said no, go to McVee. Bad option gone. Holding the ball. There was a noise of affirmation that was as loud as you've heard it. Massive crowd in, plenty of Collingwood fans in the house, even though this is a Melbourne home game.
He spoke to Simon Goodwin pre-game. He said this was going to be a big battle. The pressure between the arcs. Collingwood are the best at it. Melbourne got to match them.
Mychek wide, and McVee goes safety first and thumps it out of play. Still the sun shining, peeking through the clouds. Lights are on, and a fantastic atmosphere.
Unfortunately, just keeping a close eye on Langdon at the moment, doing a lot of holding around the contest.
Until they pay a free kick, though, Jono, he will continue to do it.
Spot on, Jason, and that's what needs to probably happen. He's playing from behind. He is wrapping both arms around, so until it is called, you're right, he'll just get away with it.
And Seagadin shot there. 2 arms wrapped around Nick Dacos, who throws both arms in the air but doesn't get the footy as a result. Petrarca caught. Unusual way to try and get rid of the football. Umpire's letting it go at the moment towards Gawn. Hill. Now Crisp, the record breaker. Gets through 1, 2 tackles back to Bobby Hill. Smooth forward. Memory looks inboard, wants to lay it off. Still Tim looks.
He had a great lead from Jamie Elliott. Just a little slow. He's giving Elliott some space. Stephen May. Be careful he doesn't get punished.
Short to Pendlebury. Feigns short, then points long. There's the chant from Sale. Drops into the pocket. Melbourne have got numbers aerially and kill the footy.
There really is that thing in here. All about to be flung in. Gawn and Cameron again. Gawn front spot. Little palm down. Oliver went by boot. Couldn't kick it. McVee does, and Houston standing under it. Great spoil by Fritsch. Comes down the lender hand and kills it across the boundary.
It's a game within a game watching Langdon on Dacos, Joey.
Yeah, this is real old school. I mean, Dacos had the 40 touches, polled the 3 Brownlow votes in that last home and away game last season, so Simon Goodwin's not going to let him off the chain today.
Just see, front of the stoppage there. Dacos goes, and this time surely he's going to get the free. Well, Langdon pushed and held, and eventually the little champ gets the free kick.
It's the arms around.
So the umpire sets the standard. Dacos plays on. Very wide into the pocket. Turner's a big fly across the line.
They do tend to kick it where they say they're going to kick it, the Collingwood players, when they point. They do tend to go to that spot. There's the hold on Nick Dacos, defined line. Depends on who you're barrack for playing at home as to whether you think some of these will be a free or not. You might get a couple. He goes for it here. Beaten out of play. McVee gives him a push.
Yeah, every Melbourne player is trying to put body on him.
McVee, Langdon, Bobby Hill.
It's old-fashioned, but I love it. They've come with attitude, Melbourne.
Gawn slaps it down. Crisp caught immediately, got it off somehow. Melbourne portion of the crowd screaming bull. Pendlebury had a chance. Oliver had a chance. Crisp dragged down Turner. Face planted him in the tackle. And it's still on.
Spot on, Jason. It just creates an attitude, doesn't it, for both teams, actually. It actually put some of Collingwood mids off as well, trying to protect Dacos.
So a bit of fire early.
So Simon Goodwin's come out and said, we're going to make a statement. We are going to attack your best player and see what impact it has.
There's been many famous moments in this game. Jack Watts, when he came on for his debut, just collared by a couple of pies. Back in the day, and now an early statement against Nick Dacos. Fritsch brings it to the ground. Quaynor looked for Frampton, got through him to be one. Fritsch did pretty well on the path of Pickett. Clever tap again. Langford over the top of the footy. Quaynor and the pies went out. More stretches. Looks for Houston into space.
Houston cut down though immediately. That's the kind of pressure. We get a ball in. Darcy Moore, of course, his father won a Brownlow medal with each of these two clubs. 77 games for Melbourne, but 172 for Collingwood. A couple of best and fairest, and the captain, and now his son captaining again this afternoon. Fritsch, Pendlebury had him as he collected it. Made sure he was going nowhere.
So really clever by Nick Dacos now. He's moved to half forward just to see if Ed Langdon will come with him. Ed Langdon doesn't want to play in defence, so at the moment he's been able to break the tag and he's got McVee on him.
So change has been made by both coaches. Free kick against Gawn. To Cameron, the advantage taken. Long breakout season for Ned. Back to Pendlebury. Thought about stepping Pickett, then realised who it was. Quaynor loops it over. Crisp. There's Nick Dacos now. Oliver gives him no room at all. They move it forward by hand again. Trying to apply the tackle was Lachlan Sullivan again. It's across the line.
Yeah, so that's just the footy smarts of Nick Dacos now, moving himself to half forward just to see what the opposition will do. And there's another matchup we're going to keep an eye on. Jake Melksham on Darcy Moore. So he's going to try and play that negating role that he's done so well on Harris Andrews in recent weeks, where he'll try and limit his influence but also try and hit him on the scoreboard.
Yeah, spot on, Joey. Fritsch flicks it back. Houston cut it off. This one wasn't wide, maybe too wide for everyone.
I like it though. It's an early win to Melbourne. So you've come in with a plan and all of a sudden you've disrupted Collingwood's midfield. Dacos has moved out, he's gone forward. They would have had a plan there. If he goes forward, you hand over. So Judd McVee gets that job now. It's up to him.
Windsor and Hoskinelli at the subs. Cameron, a big shove on Gawn. All okay.
Two premier ruckmen in the competition going at it today. That's going to be a great battle.
Cameron plays on. Dumps it long. Gawn is in the area, but Stephen May floats across, takes a good, strong contested mark. Aggressive, but nice. Kick hangs up a long time to Sparrow. They access the middle of the MCG. Ignored the Petrarca run. Splits it out wide to the man with a beautiful left foot, Langford.
Does well to Chandler. Measured it beautifully.
He's working hard, Kay Chandler. He's covering some ground.
Opens it up. So Pickett's in the middle. He might even be a jumper here. He doesn't go. Petty could have gone. Put it to grass. Sparrow, a little push off. Umpire said it was. Holding the ball. Just a good, hard fight at the moment.
Every possession's going to be hard-earned today. Just see here the fend-off.
Good don't argue,
but then it was Ned Long, who's been sensational this season.
Fend off on Pendlebury in game 414. Side bottom. Long looping hand pass. Collingwood just push it forward. And the tackle comes back the other way. Ball to be won. Salem. Intelligent little kick. There's Chandler again. Hand pass makes it difficult for a teammate.
Triple change coming up on the Collingwood bench. Nick Dacos coming off for a rest. Josh on. McStay on as well. Back into the lineup this week.
Yep, Dacos comes off. Langdon comes off as well.
Yeah. He's not allowed to go and sit next to him on the bench, though. Back into play. So Van Rooyen back into the lineup for Melbourne this week. Petrarca lays the tackle on Allen. Tosses it in. Van Rooyen been in and out a bit in recent times, but they need his ruck work as well as his forward craft.
right in front of the Melbourne members who were baying for a free kick. Cameron in front of Van Rooyen takes the young man on, Allen. So a good little patch. Josh Dacos sends it forward. Stephen May started nicely. Full chest. He just plays on immediately. Bombs it long. Pickett will want it at the ground level, but it doesn't come to ground very often when Moore is behind the footy.
That's what Melson's got to stop.
Yeah,
Jason and Joey said.
He did it a couple of weeks ago against Harris Andrews. He didn't get it done last week, so it's a big challenge.
I try and flip it around. Will Hayes back into the lineup for Collingwood's second game, so a big moment for him as well. Wide ball, Penny, good hands, open forward line if he goes. Pickett's in there if he wants to launch it. Quaynor mans him up. He takes some time. He might go back. He's got a couple of options back. He floats it. Frampton and Moore are both there, and Moore protects Frampton. Brilliant play.
Melbourne senior players were pointing for him to go back, but in the end he dropped it at 2-on-1. Disadvantage his side. Quaynor in the pink boots.
So you can see Nick Dacos just had a quick touch there. He's back out there, and Ed Langdon is up on the bench waiting to get back out there.
Was that deliberate to shake the tag?
I think just a quick one. Just a quick one. They're just playing a few games against each other at the moment, the coach's box.
Langdon arm up, but he can't get on the ground. Allen, just an up and under. 40-metre drop punt, Meyer check. Petrarca. Now Rivers with that distinctive leg tattoo over the top of Quaynor. Pickett, fumbled, goes a second time. Stripped by Josh Dacos. Gets away from Pickett, not an easy thing to do. Pendlebury just bashes it forward to his old mate's side bottom. Caught by two demons in the middle.
Yeah, make your mind up for those playing at home as to whether you reckon it was holding the ball before it was high.
I still didn't see the high contact.
It looked like a lot of high contact. He'd be pleased that Melbourne's intent early.
Yeah.
Certainly switched on for this contest.
Every player in one half of the ground as Frampton goes wide to Howe. A sizzle to the pocket. And he puts it into the grasp of Will Hayes, who's never kicked an AFL goal. Game 2. Back into the lineup as well as Dan McStay. Square. McStay does fly, hits the deck, long, got a little trickler. May, the goalkeeper, flicks it wide. Lindsay, normally a good user, puts it to the disadvantage of Fritsch, and Howe gets the free for Collingwood.
Stephen May started well for the Demons in defence. Howe goes laterally, again to Quaynor. Got it all ahead of him. Flood of Melbourne jumpers back, needs to be accurate, just too much on it. Might work out in the end. Allen, McCreery, Petrarca, strong body, Salem. Somehow got a boot to ball, falls to Perryman, spies a target. Coming up is long, here comes Nick, overruns it. Melbourne under pressure. Lever, sweeping hand pass, Van Rooyen, Petrarca, exit.
So they've got a couple on, there's a 2-on-2. Melcham, good flight, Petty's the other one. Oh, Pickett's up and running. If he gets there, Johnny Howe pressed it down. He read the eyes, he knew exactly where that was going. Josh Dacos, Frampton, Collingwood out of trouble. Short pass to Long. He wants to go. They're screaming for it. Long if he wants to go inside 50. He fans it out wide. Fritsch plucked it with one paw and then dropped it. Crisp. Sullivan. Collingwood fans roar. Pendlebury. Clean pickup, of course it is. McStay back into the lineup and back amongst the goals.
Gee, it's a big goal. That's a big goal. It was a goal-saving intercept from Jeremy Howe down back. He read the play. Because he Pickett found space, he was out. He was off and gone. But he was able to get over and cover. That caused the turnover. And then there was still some hard-won ball to be done. But when they eventually got it out, a couple of hand passes, Pendlebury found Dan McStay back for his first game. And that's a great finish. That'll do his confidence the world of good coming back into the team.
Yeah, well, and it was the Pies forward handball game. It's been a real strength over the last month, the ability to keep the ball moving by hand. But this was the kick. Pickett was out. If the kick from Melksham went boundary side, he had all that space. It was just too central, which allowed Jeremy Howe to come across. But great transition from the Pies. They've got a clear intent to move the ball with speed today. They know if they go slow against this Melbourne defence, that'll suit them. They're looking to put speed on the game.
King's birthday, scintillating start, a sea of MND beanies around the grand ground, side bottom, stolen by Pickett, Long does the same, Oliver slips, Langford, impressive young player, Long from Rivers, inaccurate.
Simon Goodwin, 9th season as Melbourne coach, premiership in year 5. And look at that sea of blue beanies filling the MCG. As good as any sporting arena in the world. Darcy Moore down the middle. Howe on the run. He goes long. Elliott, can he get there? May, one grab, not the second. He's got Lever riding shotgun. Elliott steals it back. Trying to use it wisely. Hayes cut down. Back towards Elliott. Ball. Kid didn't get much time, but walking to the big time. This is game 2 for him. Hasn't quite picked up the pace yet.
We know how good Collingwood are, particularly in their attacking 50, but the D's are showing some urgency as well. I've been impressed with their physicality early.
Big tackle that from Lindsay on the slight frame of Hayes. Petty worried out of it. Houston, a couple of recruits involved. Perryman pokes it forward. Good grab coming back with a fly with Bowie. Looks inboard. McVee calls for it, ignores that. And just takes a bit off the footy.
He's in All-Australian form, Bowie. That was a good grab. Under some heat. Definitely on track to make the squad of 40, if not the 23. Oliver. McVee. Gawn or Petty from behind. Cameron did pretty well to spoil it. Petty tried to not argue, and he got a big argument.
So that was smart from the D's, using McVee a couple of times coming out of defence, because he's the one that's on Nick Dacos when he goes forward. So Dacos doesn't really want to pick him up. They were able to use him twice and get a good exit out of their D50.
Fritsch managed to keep it in that whistle. It's getting dark and the temperature's dropped here at the MCG. It hasn't rained for about 3 hours, but the light's in full effect now.
Umpire was right in front of that, just saw that Rivers threw that ball out, trying to keep it alive. Good intent by both teams there. Gee, their tackles are sticking, both teams. It's been a red-hot first quarter.
Right in front of the Shane Warne stand. Great to see one of the sliders, Mark Taylor, paying homage to the great Shane Warne as he came down the slide. Gawn, fist it towards Oliver, stands up in the tackle. Bowie keeps it in front of himself. Lever.
Another good recruit, as well as Xavier Lindsay. They pick 11 in last year's draft. Local Victorian. And what a sight Melbourne and Victoria is in the middle of winter with football in full cry. I reckon you could be a couple of kilometres away from here and you know there's a footy game on. Long feeds it further on. Hayes, Chris, little bounce to look up. Goes long towards McStay, 2 to beat. And May content to see that off fingers and out of play.
You can see Bobby Hill going crazy. He was all on his own in the corridor. His arms were up. He was screaming for the ball, but they just didn't see him. It's a goal gone begging for the Pies.
6 disposals for Stephen May. 3 marks, couple of intercepts down there already. The premiership defender, Gawn. Clever, back to Oliver, now McVee. Kicks under pressure. Moore and Cameron are there. And Roy can't do much against those two. Back to Josh Dacos, just the distance. Perryman. Very deliberate. Now a high entry. May's in the frame again. He's got his mate Lever there.
Yeah, those high balls going inside 50 will suit Melbourne's defence all day long. As Jason said, Collingwood the best team in the competition at finding a score when they go inside 50. They've been highly efficient, but just the 2 shots from 12 entries in this quarter.
Yeah, Melbourne a different team when both Butch and Sundance are down there combining. May and Lever, great understanding. Gawn rips out of the air. He's a contender for an 8th All-Australian, Max Gawn, this year. And if he does the job again today on Cameron, he might be the front runner for it. Free kick, hold. Collingwood about to send it back inside 50. Perryman thought about the wide. He does go wide to Frampton. Not your run and carry kind of guy normally, so he gives it to the man who is the run and carry specialist.
And we'll edge it forward to Houston. Beautiful user by foot, the number 9. Takes a bit off the kick. Elliott. He's getting in little gaps, Jamie Elliott. Rivers was trailing.
Well, we've spoken about that a little bit. You wonder how a player like Jamie Elliott, who's high on the Coleman medal leaderboard, gets on his own in space, because Stephen May's zoning off. He's looking to read the play, and he's wanting teammates to help cover those little holes, little pockets of space, but they just got caught out then. It was a good kick from Houston, and far too easy a mark for Elliott to take.
4-5 goal hauls in the last 6 weeks for Jamie Elliott. It's been an unbelievable goal-kicking form, and he continues with that. Does Elliott?
And I think that's the point that makes it hard to believe, how you say he's been in unbelievable form. Joey, how's a bloke like that that's kicking goal upon goal, just wander into space on his own?
Yeah, Stephen May was trusting his teammates, but this is the quality of Dan Houston, because we said those long high balls were suiting Melbourne. Steve May and Lever were probably anticipating another high ball. They were at the top of the square. Houston said, no, I'm better than that. I can find something. He just waited for the right opportunity. He saw a little gap appear, and he pulled the trigger late. And Jamie Elliott, can you believe he's only 4 goals shy of a career high? We're at round 14. 38's the number. He'll get that in no time if it's not today.
Yeah, Jeremy Cameron starts the day with 38 goals, 38-15. Jamie Elliott 34-16, ultra accurate. Those two at the top of the race for the Coleman. Umpire might recall that. Cameron and Gawn to go at it again.
Good judge, Max. He didn't even bother moving for that one. He thought, no, that's going to miss the circle. Not even wasting any energy.
Rivers side by side with Nick Dacos. Gawn rips out of the air. Pendles, look away. Dacos just slipped a second. Little fumble. Perryman caught, dispossessed.
Oh, that is brilliant. This is the D's bringing pressure of their own.
Rolls for us back into the lineup.
Yep. They've come with some attitude today. That's giving Collingwood a taste of their own medicine. Collingwood's so good at laying tackles in their forward 50. Now it's the D's doing a little bit of the same. And Volstrup gets an opportunity here to get the D's back in front.
Just game 15 is worse than 50-50 as a goal kicker. 6 goals, 8 career. 1-3 this year. Got it! By a coat of paint!
It's a good finish from just outside 50. And the one thing you've got to do if you're Melbourne is you've got to give reward when you put the effort in. You've got to get that reward back. So it's one thing to lay the pressure, to show that we're on, that we're going to be hard, we're going to have a crack. But then when you create the opportunity, you've got to go back and capitalise on it. And it takes a really good kick after the tackle from Tholstrup from just outside 50 to finish it off and give the D's that reward, that belief that if they work hard enough, they're mortal. They're not inhuman, the Pies. They are fallible to pressure like everybody else, but it's got to be extreme and it's got to be constant.
And centre bounce has been crucial. D's have won all 4 centre bounces so far, so that's given them some opportunity.
Great celebration too from Tolstrup. For another clearance here, Melbourne. Not quite. Pendlebury's got other ideas, just stepping Rivers as he's done so many times. McCreery left it behind. Rivers now the tackler. Langford from ground level. Out to the wing. Sparrow picks up the ground ball that bounced off Hayes.
Umpires had a little conference there to work out whether that was going to be insufficient intent. Talked a bit about that rule. I don't think the AFL will change it. I think the crowd screaming for it, something that they enjoy. Like the scream of ball. Josh Dacos, Pendlebury, Quaynor, nice movement. Just chips it a little. Well, Bobby's under it. Couldn't quite get the jump that he was after, but he got manhandled. Wow.
See, that came from the downfield umpire too. The one that was ahead of the football.
He said that Blake Howes back into the lineup this week for Melbourne. Didn't give him a fair run at the ball. Didn't turn out the ball.
there's not much in it. I know he's got his back to the ball coming in. He briefly puts the arms around, and then he's trying to spoil. He actually locates the ball, and he's trying to put a fist on it. But you take the benefit of them as a forward. Bobby gets an opportunity here.
14 possessions against Hawthorn last week is equal best possession tally for the season. Had a couple of 3-goal games this year. This in game 100. Did he get it there?
Big Max went up.
Be interested to see what the soft call is here.
Score review. Umpire's call is behind. Please confirm.
Does he touch it there? How can we tell if he's touching it, Joey?
Umpire's call is behind. The whole of the ball has to be behind the whole of the padding.
If he's touched it at that first shot, it's a behind. It's just so hard to see.
It's a desperate effort from Vaughan.
Well, they're the little 1%ers. If this is called a behind, full credit. Look at Max. Look at the height he's getting, the elevation, the arm full stretch. I mean, it's a brilliant evidence. Very hard to tell from that camera angle.
That's the first touch where they freeze it there, then it's a behind.
And that's not definitive enough to overturn it anyway.
See the ball's touched before crossing the back of the ground.
Great effort. Max calling that is a captain's effort if you've ever seen it.
Nothing on the stat sheet, but a big effect on the game. So Bobby Hill's goal and his 100th is denied.
It was a very early celebration too from Bobby Hill after it left his boot.
Went the big shush.
Made to the near side, to the members.
Bit going on off the ball.
Keep an eye on that. Petrarca, Allen. Petrarca caught in a tackle. What'd you see, Jason?
So on that occasion, it was Nick Dacos, and he was trying to break the tag of Langdon, and then Petrarca got involved, and Dacos may have lashed out in that. There was a little bit going on. It was getting very physical.
The crowd were giving it to Bobby Hill at the same time for celebrating the goal with a big shush to the MCC members. Here is Nick Dacos on cue. Nice little drop step. Hits a good spot with the kick, but Stay won't get there, and guess who? This time it's Turner, who took 11 marks in a game a few weeks ago, but only had 96 metres gained, which not like Dan Houston has in a couple of kicks. So it's always an interesting watch as to what he's going to do with it. But he is a good intercept mark.
He's had a great 5 or 6 weeks since he's gone back into defence. Dwayne averaging 3 intercept marks a game. He's really settled, and I think it's helped having Lever back into the team in recent weeks alongside May, who's back in form. He can just go about his business. He's got great leaders to guide him, and I think they really like him back there now. He looks like he's a player. Deep in the term.
Fascinating battle in the ruck. Gorn, blink of an eye to Cozzy. Last chance, but Frampton is in front of Van Rooyen, who's a touch frustrated being caught behind.
Yeah, just it wasn't a kick to his advantage, Howie.
The quarter time here. Cold day, hot footy though. All square at 2-2 apiece. Sparrow, McStay, Elliott and Tolstrup, the goal scorers. Nick Dacos, that'll be a talking point. The amount of work Langdon's doing on him. And at this stage, he's doing a pretty good job of it. Nick Dacos, 5 disposals. So quarter time here at the MCG. So much footy coming your way today on Fox. It's the King's birthday, and then Gaz and the G-Man AFL 360 directly after. Craig McRae and Simon Goodwin will be on that. Then Jack Riewoldt on the couch. I believe the great Lee Matthews is appearing as well. You'll see it all right here on your home of footy. That's Fox.
All right, folks, welcome in. I tell you what, there we go. You can't get much closer. 2-2-14 apiece here at the MCG. The big freeze days. We saw some of the folks go down the slide into the big freezing pool filled with ice blocks. I tell you what, there we go. First off, shouty, everyone in the house. Of course, Passaway Nartine, the manager's in the house. B3, what's going on? Addy G says, go Pies. Thanks, Addy G, always supporting the Magpies there. Sloan said, hi. Taddy, how you going, Taddy? There we go. Albert, what's going on? Hope there is no religion today in the chat. Yeah, I think if there is, I'll just remove it. I saw that yesterday. I don't know what he's going on about. Damn, this doesn't count as winning the first quarter. I know, what's going on there? I know, that decision actually, it was you could see it was touched. It was probably a centimetre of the ball wasn't over the line. So that was, I think that was fair enough. That was a behind. When did Eddie say that? I think Eddie said that when Collingwood were playing a team and he needed Collingwood to beat that team to keep Freo in the top 8 or the top 4 from last year. I know it's somewhere. It was somewhere. He said it. You don't worry about that. I know he said it somewhere. Hey, let's just have a look at the ladder. There we go. If it's a draw, Collingwood go a full game clear, and Melbourne are there. Addy G will probably be wanting Collingwood to win, not Melbourne, because if Melbourne get up there, they're only a game behind Freo. Addy, you should be cheering on the Magpies. That's what you should be cheering on, the Magpies today. Hey, before we go any further, hey, don't forget to vote. 65%. So we've got a few smart people in the chat. Have gone for Collingwood. Well done for tipping the Maggies, everyone. Let's have a look at Melbourne's ins and outs. Howells, Thulthrop and Van Rooyen coming in. Laurie, Johnson, Sharp out. The sub is Caleb Windsor. For the Magpies coming in, William Hayes, Daniel McStay. Big in, McStay going out. Paddy Lipinski and Lockie Schultz, couple of big outs. The sub is Will Hoskin Elliott. And of course, the milestone man, Bobby Hill, 100th game for the Magpies. Go, go, Bobby! Tell you what, he nearly kicked the opening goal. Thulthrop, oh my gosh, where do the weird names come from? He's kicked one with Tom Sparrow. He's flying. Joke. Did you get that, Jake? That was a good bit of sense of humour, wasn't it? Tom Sparrow's flying. They're the two goal scorers there for Melbourne. For the Magpies, of course, Daniel McStay and Jamie Elliott. Come on, Elliott. We're going for 6 today. There we go. Disposals. Hey, let's have a look at the ball. Magnus, Josh Dacos with 11. Big opening first term. Couple of clearances. Scotty Pendlebury on 10. Jack Crisp 9. Quainer 7. Clayton Oliver. Let's see if he can actually produce a game or be his normal self and not get too much. But so far, so good. Stephen May on 7. Let's just roll down it. Hey, folks, it's a pretty good game here at the moment. Melbourne playing out of their skin. They're playing the best football that they can possibly play at the moment in the opening quarter, trying to restrict this extraordinary team of the Magpies. But the Magpies haven't really got on any sort of run just yet, and that's the worrying part, I think, for Melbourne. Melbourne doesn't normally sustain pressure like this for 4 quarters, so I'm sure at some stage. Hey, good luck if you're a Melbourne supporter out there. This is just the way I see it and how we've been watching the games unfold. Of course, Dacos getting plenty of attention out there. The umpires certainly need to come in there. It's getting manhandled. It's a bad look for footy. Umpires need to step in before something happens. Clayton Oliver needs to get off the bags. He used to be top 5. I tell you what, Oliver, he used to be in the top 5s. That's exactly right. He'd be lucky to be in the top 500. I still, you know what? I still think Melbourne should get rid of Clayton Oliver. I think he's just a burden on Melbourne team, and I think they should trade him off and bring in a couple of players, a couple of good players that could actually want to play, put in and give 100% each week. Clayton Oliver, he just doesn't do that. All right, there we go. That's my say. Hey, let's get back down to the ground where the action is. We're going to kick off the second quarter. It's all tied up here at the MCG. Big freeze day out there. And, of course, should be a ring-a-ding-ding. I tell you what, it's a big crowd in there. They were hoping for about 90,000 out there. Looking out the window, it's a cloudy day, a little bit of sunshine. Not a great deal, but it's a chilly day. All right, let's get back into the action. Go Pies!
Let me tell you, boys, plenty of passion here at the MCG.
Yeah, there were tears pre-game as well. It was an emotional lap by Neil Danaher. Sea of blue beanies. What a sight it is here. Just a pleasure to be here. And Oliver and Nick Dacos having a chat. You wouldn't want to release the pressure on Nick Dacos. So Oliver entrusted with him. It's all square. Second term about to get underway. Both teams had their share of the lead in the opening quarter. Cameron and Gawn pick it out of the middle, looked around, knew he had him covered until the smother. Tied off the deck, side bottom stands his ground. Brilliance, as always. He just knows where it's headed.
Game 343 for Steele. Still powering on, playing some of his best footy. Sends it out to the wing. Stays in the contest. Oliver bangs it forward. Straight to Jeremy Howe. Goes into the middle. Spends a bit of time waiting for it. Well done by Hayes. Got front position. Now Melbourne through the ruckman. Melksham caught behind. Tries to take a hanger on Darcy Moore. Does his job though. Brings it to ground level. Josh Dacos. Toe pokes it forward. Probably got an issue there.
Has to be.
It's interesting because his intent was to keep it in, but tied to Allen.
Yeah.
So, under the letter of the law of the rule, that shouldn't be deliberate or insufficient intent, but that's the way they're playing it.
They need to change the wording of the rule, Dwayne.
Pick it off hands. He dropped it, turned it off the deck. It rolls. It tumbles. Can you believe it? He's back, Keziah.
I think that was an afterthought, Joey.
Even when he doesn't mean it, special things happen. So what had happened there is he obviously started in the centre bounce, as has been the case. Langdon comes up from half forward, tags Nick Dacos, so Piggott just drifted forward in the passage of play, and that's how he almost found himself without really a match-up. Josh Dacos sort of playing in front, half-pointed, the front and square. I mean, there's not many better. He drops the footy and just throws a boot at it. And that's as good as it gets, but that's the advantage we're getting with Cozzy Piggott, starting on ball, then drifting forward.
Great celebration too. He said Eddie bets pre-game if he had his choice as he celebrates that one. He'd wear tracksuit pants out there. It was that cold today. But he's on fire himself.
First quarter and a bit, D's mission accomplished. You had to get your teeth into the contest. They've done that. Can they do it for 4 quarters?
Gawn and Cameron, intriguing battle in the middle. Pendlebury, clever, clean. Forward hand pass again, McCreery. He's a long kick of the footy for the quick answer from the Pies. How about that?
How special is that from Scott Pendlebury?
Is that a 20-year-old Pendlebury or a 40-year-old Pendlebury?
It wasn't with lightning speed, but it was just all class and composure. He knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. Compare that to the very first centre bounce of the quarter. Pickett had the exact same opportunity, but he kicked it and had it smothered. Pendlebury just drew the man, popped it over the top. They needed that centre clearance too. Pies, it had been an issue for them. He just read the hit of Gawn, and off he went. Seas parted.
They didn't lay a glove on him. How clever is he? And it's a quick, easy response. That's what hurts Melbourne. They're working so hard to grind out everything they do, and they just cough up a centre square goal like that.
It's his 20th season, Scott Pendlebury. Pick 5 in 05. From the restart, umpire recalls it. Max Gawn did attack that. The umpire assessed that it wasn't a contest. So Pickett and Dacos side by side here. Petrarca couldn't quite. Houston the other way. Long. Little eye over the head of Langdon. Salem will get back. Almost Hayes. He got up there. May on his left. Quaynor stands under it. Dropped it after holding his ground, and now Chandler wraps him up. Trouble for Isaac.
Stopped the second arm coming forward. It was a perfectly executed tackle by Chandler. Now Fritsch. Haven't seen much of him. And the green fluorescent boots, a good ball forward, as well weighted to Petty.
That's an excellent kick. It actually made Petty chase the ball because Fritsch knew where the space was to kick it inside 50 away from all the Collingwood defenders who were filling up holes, and he actually made Petty chase the footy.
Yeah, this has been the big adjustment in Melbourne's offence the last 8 weeks. The angles, just watch as this game unfolds, coming out of defence, going inside 50. It's always angles now, and it's been a big improvement from previous years.
Game 94, 37 career goals. He's kicked 9 this season to retake the lead for the D's. Skips, jumps, and just to the far side. Mason Cox relaxing his big frame in the rooms, taking it pretty easy, the big Texan.
Played pretty well in the twos yesterday. More. Lets the crowd bubble behind him. Down the line, Cameron comes at it, got it. Good hands. Slowed it down, Collingwood now.
Stuttering approach from Cameron. Meyer check May, another intercept.
Yeah, he's playing well. As I said, when these long high balls, it's really suiting Stephen May. He's having influence. But if it's been coming in quick, we've seen him give the leg rope to Jamie Elliott, so that's going to be the challenge this afternoon.
Now gives it back to May. Off one step, tries to pierce the ball and does it beautifully. Gives it to the left footer. Langford looking for Gawn. Pendlebury knew he was outgunned in height. Drops it forward. Hurry pick up from Melksham. Right to the top of the square, but Quaynor tracks it back and marks in front of Petty.
So down the spine to Pendlebury. Holds it up. Josh Dacos. He's got Quaynor back in the defensive goal square if he wants him. Pumps it down the line. Big fist from behind by House. Side bottom. Elliott. Hayes. Spears it inside to McStay. Got it. Bowie got him. Could have been ball. Crisp over the top of it. Pickett, little toe poke. Bowie. House. Langdon. Fritsch. Oliver. Boundary throwing.
Nick Dacos without a possession for the term. See your blue beanies at the MCG. Houston, May, Pendlebury have all been good. Pendlebury's had 12 disposals. Spills free, Oliver. What was it forward? Tough one for Quaynor. Petrarca. The don't argue on more. Fritsch. Took a long time to get the boot to ball. Langford was calling for the centering ball. I think Fritsch was going towards the big sticks.
Great smother from Isaac Quaynor. But just back to the ruck work, this is becoming a bit of an issue for the Pies. The Max Gawn's dominating it out. So Darcy Cameron's been great around the ground, but just keep an eye on Gawn's influence with the hits.
Back into play. Pickett on the run. On the full. McCreary told it was his ball. He backpedals now. Slowed it right down in this quarter, Collingwood. Head to the outer side. McStay from 4 deep. Lever got a fist on it. Took a little bit of mind check on the way through. McVie around his body. Bouncing ball. Josh Dacos stood his ground. Took on Fritsch and won. Chris. Back towards the wing. McStay used his body. Did pretty well. Bowie. Oliver. Langdon. Inside kick. Chandler. Coming off a great first term. Turns and goes. Fritsch in a 1-on-2. Almost. Side bottom. Tough man to beat. Mesmerise them there. Got it to IQ. He showed his IQ. Little hand, what a Hayes. Picked up the pace now and doing well. Heads longer. May's down there. Goes with the fist. Almost marked it. Hit the deck. Elliott. Hunter down. My check. Danced inside. Dacos. One target. Goes to McCreary instead. Top of the square. Bobby! No! Good attack from Langford. Flipped it away. Relieving kick. How's the umpire going to read that? It's okay.
GT's working really hard their team defence, Jason. It's been impressive this quarter, hasn't it? Not giving Pies much room and space to move with any freedom on defence.
They're doing a lot right, Melbourne, at the moment. They are doing a lot right, making life difficult for the Pies.
Gawn having a big day out against Cameron. Arguably the two best tools in the comp. Falling over was Houston. Clever tap to Tolstrup from Petty. Beautiful ball forward. Melksham plays on. He's got runners ahead of the footy. Goes in towards Fritsch, had a couple of nearly moments. Quainer stands up in the contest. Not quite working out for Bailey Fritsch at the moment.
He's had a couple of opportunities. I'm unsure about that kick, though, from Melksham. He had a couple of short options, 20, 30 metres down the line, that then could have had a deeper entry or a better look inside 50.
Still looking for his first touch of the term, Nick Dacos. England's doing a fine job. Cameron in front of Van Roy and Oliver.
Yeah, well, he's playing high half forward at the moment, but he's holding his position, and McVee's got the job on Nick Dacos, as we said earlier, when he goes to half forward.
Chandler got it off. Oliver caught. Allen wrapped in. Moore goes in. Flicks it up. Melksham kicks smothered. It's congested. Hard tackling still. Too high.
Van Roy in a touch aggressive on McCreary, who kicked a great running goal this term. Shapes it towards Membry.
Holding Collingwood, Tim Membry.
It's a hold against Turner, so Membry's got Hill ahead of the footy. Elliott's tracking back towards goal. A lot of players in the blue and red pointing at Jamie Elliott. Now one goes to him. Mail come from the side, big fist on Myercheck. McCreary tried to tap it to Pendlebury, didn't quite work out. Chandler done some fancy things, looks incredibly fit as Chandler. Not his best effort by foot, could still work out. Petrarca, Oliver, the old firm. Bouncing ball forward, Moore's got it covered, just overruns it though. Melksham's got no one ahead, so goes for home. He did look inboard, nothing presented. No accuracy with the kick.
Oh, if he hung on to that ball a little longer, Fritsch had worked into the corridor on his own.
It's the real let-off. Just Jake Melksham, normally so good with ball in hand.
Perriman's going to Langdon. Turns inside, had a couple of options. Fritsch caught. Waited till he was slung. Rivers gets under it. Who's going to leap? Then big flies go up. Tolstrup couldn't quite bring it down. Petrarca hunts it. Moore. Boundary line. Petty. Get another ball in.
And now this is where the Pies are so good. So we said they're the most efficient team going inside 50 in the competition. They're also the best team at defending their back 50 in the comp, and that's what we're seeing this quarter. They're under a bit of pressure back there, but they're hanging in at the moment.
All square at quarter time. Melbourne, 2-point lead. Cameron, side bottom, beautiful. And passes out in front of Houston. Sharon pops up into his hands. Dan, long ball. Elliott, lever. Myercheck hurdles an opponent. Across the line again.
Melbourne.
Happy to let his opponent go up the field there. Jamie Elliott all the way up the wing. Stephen May, he's back at the top of the 50-metre defensive arc, just playing that sweeping role.
So Van Rooyen and Cameron go at it. Block. Opponent's played. Well, Fritsch is short. Melksham's a target. More with him. All beats them all.
Yeah, good call, Dwayne. Fritsch again in the corridor. Should have been the target. You just wonder, for all the great effort that Melbourne's putting in, can they be smart enough with the footy to kick the score that's going to win the game?
Jason Dunstall, Lee Montagna, Dwayne Russell, Eddie Betts, Brad Johnson. King's birthday footy on Fox. Tight affair. Van Rooyen back in the side. Nick Dacos has had no room to move. Langdon's still right on his hammer. Out to his brother Josh. Stepped away from Oliver. Fashioned a kick towards Tolstrup. Man from Esperance. And again, ball across the line.
So it's 10-3, the inside 50s in the second quarter to Melbourne. But they're just not quite getting the benefit of that territory dominance on the scoreboard. I don't know what you expect a player to do there. He's not looking for the free kick, Myercheck. He was attacking the ball, but umpires decide to pay it.
It's down the line. Lever. Got there easily. And now the run comes. The long launch. Petty. Jeremy Howe. That high.
And again, part of that is because they've kicked to the wrong side of the contest. They've kicked to the advantage of the defender, Jeremy Howe, and not Harrison Petty.
Ball in the hands of Ned Long, delisted by the Hawks. Coach's votes in last 3 games for Ned. Doing a great job in the midfield. Jay Dacos. Now to Darcy Moore. Feigned the hand pass. Called to go. Now does. Build towards the wing. Elliott from a big fly from behind. Nearly got to Bobby Hill. Chris might still send it in that direction. Deep to the square. Cameron's like he's WWE style, just tossing blokes to the side, and the umpire played it against him.
He did well, Jake Bowie. Just a little man that got in an annoying position in front of a big man.
Just wrapped his arms around Big Darcy and said, I'm getting rid of you from the contest. Petrarca falls and marks. What about that, Jason?
It fell in his arms as he fell over. Another horrible inside 50.
And it favours Howe as well. Just off the instep. Tolstrup could have marked. Clever from Petrarca. Back to Tolstrup. Lure the hair. Max Gorn. Frampton does well. Brings it to a ground ball situation. Petty looking for Sparrow. Spun in the tackle. Insufficient intent.
It's just this last kick going inside 50. You see the mark again from Petrarca was green, but then he rushed trying to go inside 50. It wasn't really the right option. He just needed to take his time and wait for some other options. Pies continuing to defend really well though inside their back 50, but it's stifling their ball movement because they are starting their offence from so deep in defence.
Crowd's still old school down towards memory. They called deliberate. They haven't adopted the insufficient call. Hayes, centering ball is clever. Sullivan fisted away from him. Melbourne does well through the hands of Bobby Hill. Langford, Elliott comes out like the proverbial. Does really well. Pendlebury, danger here for the Demons. Shapes it out wide to Crisp. Hill wants it in the pocket. Membry's deep. Short to long. Probably still too far out to score. Man on the mark. 52 out. Membry comes up at the football. Good smother, well done. Really well done, Rivers. He might get it on the overturn here. Josh Dacos away from Petty. Work forward by Sullivan. Not the distance. Membry side bottom. Collingwood fans would love this. They absolutely would love it. Steal from range.
How often have we seen it? He gets an opportunity, still side bottom, and he makes it count. And that punishes Melbourne, who had so many opportunities, haven't been able to take them, haven't been able to put scoreboard pressure on Collingwood. They finally go forward, one of the very few forays forward in this term, and then they kick the goal. Just good pressure. He's unable to get it out of defence. And it was Josh Dacos who won a really good ball, Joey.
It was, and this is why they're the best team in the comp. Just the efficiency. They haven't had many looks at all. But when they do get them, generally something good comes from it. The Josh Dacos ground ball. And then side bottom with the finish. So just 2 goals from 6 entries. Melbourne, on the other hand, this quarter, 13 entries for 1 goal, 2. That's the difference.
Didn't even need to look once it came off the boot. Still side bottom. He knew he'd struck it that well.
From about the same spot as his grand final goal. The immaculate connection. Back in the middle. Gorn knocks it down. Rivers got his arms free. Pickett on the run. Little tap out. Got the half forward. The 1-2 was on. Pickett went to ground. Chandler. Half smothered kick. Quainer attacks it. Allen. Howe. Spear. Cut off. Pickett got hands to it. Couldn't mark it. Rivers back again. Toe poke and a flick. That'll work. Petrarca. And he wasted.
Boy, have they had some chances. This could be one of those. This first half for Melbourne, it's as good as they can play apart from the finishing. The pressure that they're applying, the ability to drive the ball forward and to win the territory battle has been first class from the D's. They just haven't hit the scoreboard as hard as they should.
It's that tight shot of the surface. It's rare to see any mud at the MCG, but inside 50 for the Demons, there's a few dark patches.
Another great tackle. Another great tackle.
Been desperate, Melbourne. Petty. It'll land about 20 from home. Van Rooyen hasn't had many opportunities in the air. Belted away from him to space. Tolstrup has given away a free.
Play on advantage. Membry. Looks inside, not a lot on. Has to think about what's on out wide. He goes inside to McStay. Well delivered. McStay at chip. Benro out to Perryman. Couple of options. Perryman and Howe running shotgun. Goes inside. He doesn't want Jeremy. He wants Myercheck. Stands under it. McVie. Long territory. McCreary loops it. Sullivan hunted down. Back to Long. Tackling still up for Melbourne. Saves the day. Howes. Rolling the tackle by McCreary. Umpire says I'll have it.
Oliver's at 14, made 10 for the Demons. Josh Dacos 19, Pendlebury 15. Nick Dacos. Still don't think he's had one for the term.
No, hasn't touched it. Howie hasn't had a possession this quarter. See him there, still got Ed Langdon just going stride for stride.
And they're covering some territory, let me tell you. They've gone on some sprints together.
So they'll keep the statisticians having a look. Pendlebury from the pocket. Here's his possession. And in the end, it's a handball that goes out of bounds. And look at the Melbourne players come round.
That is brilliant from Langdon. Brilliant tackle. He's had a feeling his opponent might try something to impact the game, something special, and he was all over it.
Last 2 weeks, Nick Dacos has had it 38, 32 times. They're trying to stop that. Allen caught. McStay caught. Sparrow bangs it away to the wing. Moore tried to kill it with a fist, but he put it in Oliver's territory. He looks up, heads out wide, the dive and the slide. So Van Rooyen doing the job at the moment. Back in this week. Chips to half forward. Belcham thrust. Jeremy Howe kept his feet. Perryman, Frampton, McStay. Oh, bullet to the chest to Nick.
Langdon can't believe it. Plays on. Well weighted ball. Salem comes from the side. Back to Perryman. Another one for Nick. Langdon's got him again. Has to be holding the pill.
Oh, this has been super impressive from Ed Langdon. He's warning like a gun. The closing speed, the quality of the tackle.
Can they keep it going for the second half as well? May holds it up. 4.5 minutes to half time. Bowie. Salem. Who's going to pull the trigger? Short. Bowie. Salem. Heads out wide. Colstrip. Turns and goes. Sends it to the pocket. Big pack around it. Massive pack. Umpire to sort it out.
They just set up so well behind the ball, Collingwood. They get their angles right, their spacing, they work together. It's making it so challenging for the Demons to pierce through it with all the entries they've had. 17 this quarter.
2 goals to 1 term. It was square at quarter time. 2 goals to 1 the way of Collingwood. Eked out a 3-point margin. Long stands up in the tackle. Side bottom. Cracking goal this term himself. Salem does well to work McStay underneath it. Much bigger man does well. Lever. Back by hand. Howes. Salem hangs it up. Oliver. Spoil comes from Long. Free kick advantage taken. Tolstrup. Spins on a dime. Misses.
So 18-7, the inside 50s this term in favour of Melbourne, and you're down 1 goal to 2 in the term.
Allen
doing so much right.
2 games away from being a Hawthorn player, Ed Allen. Father Ben played 98 for the Hawks. Down the line to the wing. Memory, May, Turner all flew. Chandler. Sparrow. Wobbles 1.5 forward, nearly beat the lot of them. Side bottom read it off hands. Long down the spine. It's got Memory. Didn't want to go to him. Sullivan, Allen, McCreary. Danced inside, goes out wide. Hayes. Players screaming for it.
He's paid 50.
And this will be his first goal in AFL footy.
Is it moving on the mark? Oh, that's going to hurt. That is going to hurt. Yeah, he's just moving. He didn't get 5 metres back quickly, and he didn't stand.
There's certainly been a crackdown on it this round. We discussed it last night. It's hard for players to know what they can and can't do right at the moment in that situation, meaning the mark.
Pick 56 in last year's draft. 19 years of age. Heath Shaw's old 39. Gets his first goal in AFL footy.
There's nothing quite like the excitement of a player's first goal when 17 other players on the ground come swarming to pat him on the head and congratulate him and say well done. So you can see the man on the mark. You've either got to get back quickly 5 metres or stand on the mark, and he's just dancing around it, moving across with the arms up in the air.
The issue is, you see, that's happened 100 times a weekend at the moment, so that's the frustration, and they've let the Pies off the hook because they've been so good. Melbourne, Collingwood just need an ounce of a sniff and they'll make you pay. They've done that 3 times this quarter.
The disappointing part about that is they had good cover behind the ball, the D's. Really good cover. That's why Stephen May was upset.
They've defended so hard. Xavier Lindsay's not even sure what he's meant to do. The Pies now 8-point lead, and that's due to all their back 6 defending so hard this quarter.
Hayes with his first AFL goal. Athletic character, 3rd in the agility test at the combine, 4th in the 2K time trial. Game 2, goal 1. Max grabs out of the ruck, spirals a high ball forward. Rivers. Jimmy Howe overruns it.
Let's see if Gorn can create something with a hit out to advantage for one of his smalls, whether it's Pickett or Petrarca on the move.
Big 2 minutes coming up here to half-time. Gorn down. Side bottom grabs it. They grab him.
Pies got good coverage though. They've set up well.
A little bit slippery underfoot where they are. A bit muddy. Players dancing. Petrarca, quick kick. Pickett kicked a miracle goal earlier. The wow factor's high for Kazaya.
Now the Pies mids just lost sight of him for 2 seconds, and that's all he needs to do some damage offensively. We're going to look at it again in a moment. He just worked through the contest. The Pies just got caught ball watching. It was Ned Long there, and he's just stopped to track the footy. Pickett just took 2 steps goal side. That's what he does from stoppage. He's got the roll to get forward of the ball, and that's what he does. And that's costly from the Pies late in the term.
That'd be a horrible feeling, Ned Long. You're tracking the footy, you know who you started on. It just loops over your head, and whose hands does it land in? The man you were standing on. And they needed some reward, the D's, because we continue to say they're doing so much that's right. They're just up against the best team in the competition.
Pickett's got 2:20 now for the season. Pendlebury steams through, only as far as Bowie. Back by hand, Petrarca. Into Chandler. Oliver does pretty well in the marking contest. Petrarca arrives. Pendlebury side bottom, some experience in that. 4 back to side bottom. Off the instep. Needs a bounce to favour him. Langford thrown off the footy. Allen, just too much on it for Houston. So a few errors in the middle of the MCG. Chandler. Now Turner.
It's a 2-on-1 though. Collingwood with the 2. All they combined to mess it up.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
I thought it was Melcham's.
You've got to be kidding me. He got pushed into him.
So surely that's Melcham's free.
It has to be Melcham's free kick. He just got pushed into Howe by Moore.
It's how the fans saw it in the stands. It's how we all saw it, but the 4 out there are the ones that count.
That is extraordinary.
Josh Dacos holds it up. He knows how long left. The bench signs are right next to him. He goes to Long. They can milk the clock or keep running. They decide to keep running. Josh to half forward. McStay just didn't stay up there long enough. Bowie off the crumb. Rolls it. Josh through his legs. Part of his plan, Fritsch. Melbourne might be out here. They might have a roll of the dice. No. Pendles. Josh Dacos sends it inside. Memory might make them pay for the fumble.
Seems a costly slip from Bailey Fritsch to slip over, take himself out of the contest. It's a big leap from McStay.
It's hard to believe it. Delisted free agent that St Kilda didn't want could end up being a premiership player for Collingwood this year. Will come up against his old side next game. Got this one to worry about now, and this kick, that's why they pay him the bucks. Big momentum boost for Collingwood heading to half-time.
It was all square at quarter time. Half time, Collingwood lead at 6-2-38 to the D's 4-6-30 by 8 points on a cold but packed day at the MCG. King's birthday. Pickett's got a couple, but his team trail by 8 points at the major break. So much more coming your way. Monday footy on Fox. Directly after this, you'll hear from both coaches with the G-Man and Gary, AFL 360. And directly after that, Jack Rewald, the Couch Crew, joined by AFL royalty, the greatest player of last century, Lee Matthews, on the couch right here on your home of footy on Fox.
All right, we'll be back with them in just a moment, folks. Hey, tell you what, wasn't that a fantastic goal from memory after the siren? Magpies go ahead 6-2-38. Melbourne 4-6-30. It's the mighty Magpies by 8 points here. Half time at the MCG. Big freeze day out there. Wow, I tell you what, this is a fantastic game. Both teams playing. Well, Melbourne are playing reasonably well. Magpies are playing reasonably well. I tell you what, there's a fair bit of pressure on out in the game to date. No team's really getting a run on. It's an absolute ring-a-ding-ding game. 1, 2, 3. We've had about 4 lead changes. Somewhere around that in the second term. And I tell you what, can Melbourne continue this pressure after half-time? I'm not sure. Can the Magpies run away with this game? I'm not sure. I tell you what, it's going to be a fantastic game, B3. Taddy, thanks for coming in. More pushed him. I don't know whether it was a push or a little bit more of a trip, but yeah, even still, it was a little bit surprising, that free kick. But yeah, if it was a little bit of a trip and he went under his legs, I suppose they've got to pay it. There we go. I tell you what, what's his name? The bloke on Dacos. I tell you what, he's shut Dacos right down. That is for sure. And we'll have a look at his stats in just a moment. Actually, let's go and have a look. Actually, for those Collingwood supporters, that's the live ladder. I just want to bring the live ladder up while I can, while the Magpies are in front. Half time, they'll be a game and a half clear. Thank you, Mother, for the rabbits. There we go. Just in case anyone wanted to look at the live ladder. Let's have a look at the goal scorers. Of course, Kaiser Pickett there. Well, he was left on his own, grabbed the ball, snap, goal, 2. He's got 2 for Melbourne, the leading goal scorer out on the ground. Thorslip with 1, Sparrow with 1 also. They're the goal scorers for Melbourne. For the mighty Magpies, still side bottom does it again with 1. Tim Membry after the siren, Daniel McStay. Bo McCreary, Will Hayes with his first goal in AFL football. Well done. Jamie Elliott, come on, son. You've still got 5 to go to get your 6 for this week. We know you can do it. It's whether you can. Let's have a look at the disposal getters. Josh Dacos. He's having a bit of a ripper game, isn't he? 23 disposals up until half-time. Big numbers, 23. Using the ball really... Langdon, that's right. Ed Langdon, that's right. Ed Langdon absolutely smashing Nick Dacos out there today. He's copping a hard tag. I don't know why they don't bring more taggers back into the game and play a role, but he is, I tell you what, he's doing the job for Melbourne 100%. He's doing fantastic, Langdon. Look, I'm sure at some stage the Pies will try and break that match up. And let Nick sort of run around a bit. You just never know. We'll see what happens. Josh Dacos, 23 touches. Fantastic 2 clearances. Scotty Penrell, the old boy, up to 18. Clayton Oliver, well, there you go. That is a surprise. He's the leading disposal getter out there for Melbourne on 17. Well, at least it's good to see him getting a bit of the ball. Well done. Ned Long having a good one too. On 16, Christian Petrarca, 12. Trying his best as always. Harry Perryman. What are they saying down there? They're back. Oh, they're just having a bit to Neil Danaher. The big freeze day. Jeremy Howard, 12. Crispy keeps on piling up these records with consecutive games played. Chandler on 12. Bowie on 12. Still side bottom. 11. Is in and around it. All right, hang on. Let's go back down to the commentators. We'll come back to the stats in just a moment, folks.
But they are up against the team that is the benchmark in the competition, that do everything well. And as good as Melbourne have been, they just haven't had the class to capitalise on what they've done well, Jono.
The pressure at ground level is the most I've experienced throughout the entire home and away season so far. It is on. I think it was the emotion before the game in some ways, because it's on the field and it's off. The crowd support for both teams is right up and about at that extreme level, Joey.
I think both coaches will be really happy with where the game's at, because Simon Gould will be reinforcing this is how we want to play. Where Craig McRae will be saying, boys, we've sort of had to defend a lot, but we're defending really well, and they've taken their chances when they've had it forward of centre.
Let's have a look at our Harvey Norman highlights. Ed Langdon on Nick Dacos. He is so close to him. He is playing him tight as a glove, Jono.
He certainly is. It's been an intriguing role. So you look at it in its full aspect of things. Number one is they go head-to-head. Dacos, takes him on, and he goes head-to-head. But I think what Langdon has done is created a little bit of an element of surprise. I didn't expect you to come to me today. So there's that, because if it's in tight, we can see he's been holding one free kick against, and his teammates have been trying to support that. But when it gets to open space, Langdon's got the running ability to be able to push with him consistently, and that is causing more pressure for Dacos because he can't break out from clearance effectively as well.
It's also the old-fashioned tag, where when the ball is at stoppage and around Nick Dacos, Ed Langdon's not chasing the ball. He's chasing Nick Dacos. His job is to make sure Nick Dacos doesn't get the ball, and he's doing a hell of a job to the point where Nick Dacos is getting frustrated because all of Ed Langdon's teammates are banging into him when they get the opportunity. You saw Petrarca on that occasion, and he's just not enjoying it, Nick Dacos, at the moment.
He's been distracted, hasn't he, Jono? He's been distracted from the tag. He hasn't just been able to go about his normal game, and he probably senses that it is hard to get any separation. Normally Nick's running power and speed, he can break away from those taggers. He can't get away. We've seen some of those open field runs where Nick Dacos just can't get any separation.
That's right. So then he tries to go the 2v1. That's why you see him on Petrarca and trying to get one of his teammates to get some clear air around the contest, which can work. He pushes forward. So McVee's the one who's able to pick him up if he goes forward. He's playing the high half-forward role, trying to stay in behind the contest, not going deep. And then the bench rotation is the only other way he can break the tag. So he goes to the bench, hopefully Langdon follows and then stays on the bench for that couple of minutes extra because he can't get back onto the ground. So he's got some free air for, 2 or 3 minutes out on the field.
It's been fascinating to watch. You know that the D's are going to persist with it. It'll be interesting to see what tactics Collingwood can come up with to try and get Nick Dacos into the game.
Nick is the 6th lowest ranked player on the ground, which is quite extraordinary for a player of his talent. All right, so we know we've seen this before with the Demons. Their ability to get it inside 50 has been great, big tick, but their delivery, Jason, it would be so hard to be one of their forwards today.
Yeah, they must have upset the other players, the forwards, because they refused to kick it to them. Some of the decisions, some of the kicks, that's just a high bomb in the end. But there's some players have had opportunities to make a better decision, and they've either butchered it or just completely missed plays. There's loose players, little chips into space, 30 metres. They had 2 players there, 40 metres out from goal that would have had a nice shot there. And that's just kicking to the wrong side of the contest. So at least if you're kicking to a 1-on-1, that's okay. But kick to the side of the contest that favours your player.
I think it's a little bit of pressure of the occasion, to be honest, Jason, because the last couple of weeks they've changed their mode going inside 450. They look shorter more often, and you can see the players that are out in position to be hit short, yet the occasion is just a bit of more pressure around the ball going longer, which is the easier outlet.
Well, both those points are true. I think we should give Collingwood credit as well. Collingwood pressure, Melbourne with those kicks, where they set up defensively and just the angles and work together, it does just look up, and it does look like there's not many options for the midfielders to kick to sometimes. So it's been great defence as well by the Pies.
So Jono's eyes told us that it was a high-pressure game from ground level, but the numbers certainly tell us that. So it is a real squeeze. And, Jace, we know that it makes them hard to score against, but then they can punish on turnover as well.
Everything we look at tells us they're the best team in the competition. They are so well organised behind the ball. So Melksham takes the mark, and you'll see Cosy Pickett running into space. Now, all this ball has to do is go to the left of Cosy Pickett or out in front of him, and he's okay. Look where Howe's got to come from. But Jeremy Howe knows where the danger is, and that kick, unfortunately, is just a little bit too corridor side. He gets there to spoil, and then what Collingwood do is once they've won it, they'll take it back the other way and they'll turn it into a goal. So it was just, look, they need to win another contest here. It's not the ideal switch here from Ned Long, but again, almost for Bailey French, almost intercept. But then once they find, in particular, this man, Scotty Pendlebury, he knows the right option all the time. He's had a great first half, and he always puts teammates in better positions.
Nice finish by McStay in the end, but high pressure game, got to keep your feet. Howie mentioned in commentary how wet the MCG is looking. There's mud patches everywhere. If you haven't got the screws, I'll be putting them on now, because you don't want to, in the second half, slip over at the wrong time, especially in a game that is so close and so tight.
Joey, what about the battle between the big guys and two of the premier ruckmen in the competition?
Yeah, it certainly is. And Darcy Cameron's been able to win the aerial battle. He's taken 3 marks, a couple of intercept marks, and a contested grab. Max Gawn hasn't really had much influence in the air. You can see here Darcy Cameron, he is the best intercept marking ruckman in the competition over the last few years. But Gawn has been able to really dominate the hit-outs. He's winning the hit-outs by 15, centre clearance there, +5 Melbourne. But maybe they can get a little bit more bang for buck with Max Gawn's hits, because he does look like he's getting the better of Darcy Cameron in that facet of the game. That saved the goal from Gawn. So it is really fascinating. Gawn's doing the work around the clearances, Jono, but Darcy Cameron probably having a bit more influence at the moment in the aerial play.
Gawn's athleticism is getting him across the ground as well, Joey. So when it does become free open, he is pushing hard on Darcy Cameron to break open.
Cosy Pickett is enjoying a little bit more space out there on the MCG today. Eddie Betts, he's kicked 2 and is looking pretty good.
Yes, he is, Sarah. He's got some freedom today. Like last week, Windhager went to him and he was just bumping him all over the ground, and he just didn't give Cosy a sniff. And when that happens and you come today and you play out here and no one's assigned to you, you're not getting bumped, it just feels so much better. And then he gets the freedom. If you watch here, he's at the front of the contest here, no one's there. Just a crumb like that, super. And then to kick it off the ground like that, to kick a goal, is pretty special for someone like, in the celebration as well. And then you see at the stoppage here, like you said in the game, Ned Long just let him go here. One of the dangerous small forwards in the competition. To get that space is pretty special. But last week he didn't have that space, and this week, he's got the 8 disposals, 2 goals, and I'm pretty sure if he could wear these gloves out there, he would. He told us he loves to play in hot weather, and if he could wear pants, he would play footy in them. But it's getting cold down here, guys, and I'm starting to get a bit freezing. So
big freeze for Eddie Betts on the boundary line. Ed, don't go anywhere, because I've got a question for you. Scott Pendlebury, the veteran, is chasing down your goal assist record. Are you worried?
I am worried. I've got 318 goal assists, and I'm just watching Scotty, and every time he gets the ball, I want him to do something with it, but kick the goal yourself, Scotty. Stop being unselfish. Be a bit more hungry. Give it off. Scotty's got every stat in the book. That's the one stat that I would love to keep. I'm 8 in front at the moment, and he's chasing me down, Scotty. So whenever you get the ball, Scotty, please kick the goal. Be hungry.
And maybe another goal of the year. Thank you very much, Eddie Betts. Go do some laps and keep yourself warm. We've got John Ralph joining us now with all the latest news. Sam Durham and the bump. What's the damage?
So the finding is in a 2-week ban for Sam Durham for that hit on Adam Cherry. And I think we'd all believe that is appropriate. He gets past the ball. He doesn't really contest it. And big games ahead for Essendon against Geelong and Fremantle. Now, the AFL will review the Blues' treatment of the Cherry incident tomorrow. But on-field HIAs are allowed under AFL rules. The league was in communication with the Carlton doctor. He got to Cherry in 20 seconds. He went back and cleared him a second time. Finally, he had that scat 6 in the rooms. So the optics aren't great, but the Blues are adamant that they followed the right procedure and took care of their star midfielder.
Guys, your thoughts?
Well, he turns side on, which is what they want players to do when they approach a situation like that, but he doesn't really contest the ball. Let's be brutally honest. He goes in with the intent to bum. And I think you get the punishment because of that.
He did. I thought it would have got sent straight to the tribunal, to be perfectly honest.
If it was more, if Cerra had had more severe impact, he would have. So the 2 weeks, sits about right. That was a dangerous action from Durham.
Cosy Pickett and his future. Demons fans are hanging on every word here,
So I
Ralphie.
think he'd still like to get to Fremantle, but Melbourne has offered him a long-term contract extension. They made absolutely crystal clear. There is no swap with Luke Jackson. Freo is very crystal clear on that as well. His new manager was in town last week. He spent some time with Cosy. Melbourne football boss Alan Richardson says the club's comfortable with the way that these things are progressing. What they want to do is double down and say that he's so comfortable, not only at Melbourne, which he loves, but the city of Melbourne. Like it if we cranked up the temperature a little bit there as well. He loves Simon Goodwin under the new new president or new chief executive in Paul Goody is going absolutely nowhere. So, I think they'll try and twist his arm and say, we'll offer you big dollars past 2027. Would love you to sign that and get some contract certainty.
An update on Charlie Condon?
Potentially a broken scapula for Charlie Condon, so he'll have scans late this afternoon. Club's fearing for his shoulder. He was in a sling this morning, so a hairline fracture would be 3 to 4 weeks. A clean break maybe 7 to 8. Sam Darcy trained today for the Western Bulldogs, so we pencil him in for that massive clash as well, Jono, against St Kilda on Thursday night.
Who's Ralphie?
Plenty happening on Fox Footy and indeed Fox Sports at the moment, including the FIBA World Cup, which begins on Friday.
The biggest elimination battle in club.
All right, there we go. While they're just heading off doing that, let's head back to the stats, folks. We're only 4 minutes away, and I know how everyone loves to have a look at some of the stats. Now, Stephen May's not going too bad with 11, and Isaac Quainer also. Maxi Gawn, the big man, you're thinking, well, how's Maxi going today? Well, he's actually going okay. He's had 9 touches, 6 kicks, 3 handballs, a mark, a tackle, 3 clearances, 26 hit-outs. The big man there for Melbourne, Nick Dacos, as we were saying, Ed Langdon, absolutely doing the job on him. Not many people have been able to shut Nick down like this, but Nick's only had 7 touches, 5 kicks, 2 handballs, 2 marks, 2 tackles, 2 clearances. That is it for him so far. And if we look at his opponent down there, Ed Langdon, he's only had 4 touches, 2 kicks, 2 handballs, but make no mistake about it, he shut down one of the best players in the competition doing his job there. Where was the other one? Will Hayes, there we go, 6 touches, 5 kicks. He's going all right. He's kicked his first goal in AFL history, so that's fantastic. Bobby Hill, the milestone man, we want to see him get up and running a little bit. The 4 touches, 2 behinds, Bobby. Come on, we want to see a goal from you. Let's have a look at the team stats. I don't know whether there'd be too much difference in all this, just looking at it by eye. It's the Magpies plus 16 disposals overall, so not really much there. Inside 50s, Melbourne doing well, 31. They're plus 7 inside 50s, holding Collingwood just to 24, so they're doing good, the defensive side of Melbourne. So Melbourne winning their disposal efficiency. Collingwood, they're 75. Melbourne, 62. Wow, that's low. They really need to get their disposal efficiency a lot better, of course. Free kicks, umpires having a field day. That's 11 to 18 plus 7 to the Magpies. That's what we like to see. But I tell you what, the umpires are liking to blow that whistle today. Give some of the ticky touches. The hit-outs, of course, Maxi Gawn, the star he is. Of course, Melbourne's going to be leading the way there, plus 15, 27-12. Melbourne leading the clearances is 19-17, and the centre clearance as well. Their mid's doing well, 8-3. Stoppage clearances around the ball. Magpies getting on top there, 14-13. Contested possessions, well, again, Melbourne a little bit more fierce in this opening half. Let's see if they can hold this in the second half. Plus 16, uncontested. Magpies just trying to slow the game down at occasions because it's been run at a frenetic pace up and down the field. They're plus 30 there. Turnovers, high turnover game for both sides today, 39-43. It's just the pressure of this game out in front of a massive crowd there at the MCG. 51-34 the marks. Marks inside 50. The Magpies, well, they're just trying to find a little bit more space in there. 5-1, although it's still hard work trying to find marks inside 50. There we go. We are a minute away from the start of the second quarter. It's going to absolutely be a ring-a-ding-ding. Second quarter. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're a minute away. It's the Magpies at halftime. 6-2-38 leading the Demons. 4-6-30. What's going to happen in the second half? Well, that's all to be unfolded in just a moment. 64% still say Collingwood's going to win this game today. 36% say Melbourne. Look, no team's been able to break out. And of course, Jack Butler, here you go. Play 3AW. No, I don't play 3AW here. Your commentator's coming from KO, the best in the business. 100%. Absolutely. Good to see you, Jack. Who you going for, Jack? You going for Melbourne or Collingwood? Let us know in the comments. But hey, we're going to get back down to the action. We'll take you back down live to the commentators. It's the Magpies by 8 points as we head on into the second half.
Pushing and shoving alongside Ed Langdon earlier on. Nick had 5 disposals in the first term, just 2 in the second term. Jason Dunstall and Lee Montagna here. Do they do anything different with Nick Dacos or just push on, Joe?
I would change it up. If I'm Craig McRae, I'd want to start Nick Dacos probably at half forward and then come up around the footy and see what Melbourne want to do. That's probably the plan, but we'll keep an eye on it. He might just start in the middle and say, go and beat him. You know, where we've got the game probably in control for the time being, just go and continue to work him over. But I think Simon Goodwin will be more than pleased with what Ed Langdon's been able to do so far.
Melbourne seem to be doing so much right, Jason. It's pretty tight on inside 50s and overall. 8-point margin. Can they hang in there, the Demons, and turn this round?
I think that's the message that Simon Goodwin has to have told his players during the halftime break. We're doing a hell of a lot right. If you do this for 4 quarters, you'll give yourselves a chance to win the game. Now, whether they're good enough to take those chances remains to be seen. They didn't take the opportunities that they had in that first half. They played well enough to be a couple of goals in front, but they're not. And we know how skillful and how pure the game style of Collingwood is. You've got to be at your best to beat them. But if they can put in a second half like the first, they'll be in this right to the end.
Great scenes there. Petrarca on side bottom having a chat. Look at that. The 35 of Nick Dacos, the 36 of Cozzy Pickett, standing next to each other. Second half, King's birthday. Immediately Petrarca grabs it out of the middle. Deep ball forward. Howe has been outstanding at one end. May's been brilliant at the other. The defender's doing a great job. Sends all the way to the wing. Turner stripped to the footy. Mycheck lets him go just in time. Salem tries to go off the ground. McCreary. Bowie gives him no room. And a good start to the second half.
And Jeremy Howe had an outstanding first half. Controlling it. There's been a big reason why Melbourne haven't been able to generate too many scores from their entries.
Flung in the air. Umpires found something and Nick Dacos will get a touch here. Holding. He hasn't had as much of it, but they won't mind if they still win. That's the bottom line. Goes toward Cameron.
Very clever kick from Nick Dacos. He saw Max Gawn run deep and he just chipped it to where Cameron could take the mark, and he's always going to be a little too tall.
Nick called for a back. Oh, that's a spear to Mycheck. He just dropped that in a bucket.
And what we've just seen is the difference between the two teams today. The ability to use the ball in particular going forward. A clever kick from Dacos to Cameron, and then for a big man to thread the needle there. You can see a little bit of roundabouts going on down there, but the lead continued and the kick was perfect for Mycheck. They create a goal-scoring opportunity.
Brodie Mycheck might be the best bang for buck key forward in the comp for the last decade. He's just a wizard. Unbelievably good start for Collingwood for the second half.
That's just all class. They were never going to kick the ball long straight down to Max Gawn. As much as Gawn gets to his spot, some teams kick it there and he feasts on it. Not today. Collingwood are going to make sure they lower the eyes. They aren't going to give Melbourne what they want. So you can see Gawn charging back. Membry had the first lead, potentially could have been used, and Mycheck with the other one. And as Jason said, it was an absolute pinpoint kick from the ruckman. And the finish from Mycheck was just as good.
He's in between 3 defenders there. That kick is perfect.
There you go. 5 of the last 6 goals going the way of the Pies. They're out to a game-high 14-point margin. Questions being asked to the Demons. Gawn. Cameron does well. Dacos used his body. Pendlebury overruns it. Petrarca doesn't to Max. Little piercing ball forward. Quaynor, tough bounce. Chandler away from Langdon. Pendlebury. Quaynor. Sweeping hand pass. Set to task. Just overrunning it there. was Sullivan. Now Lindsay. Fritsch comes back on the left. Gives up ground. McVee. Lindsay with a high ball forward. Sparrow comes to the back of the pack. Good discipline. Cameron gets back, takes another strong mark.
Well, again, they were just so well set up behind the ball, Collingwood. Fritsch had to go back because Howe was just down the line, and then Cameron works back, the interceptor.
He wants that All-Australian blazer. He's a contender, Darcy Cameron. Big Max to beat this afternoon. Frampton. Area. Josh Dacos. Picking their way through them at the moment. Taking some time. Thought about going back to Jeremy Howe. McCreary. That's a pretty good grab under heat.
Plays on by hand. Side bottom. Feigns to McCreary. Good enough to work his way, think his way through it. Josh Dacos. All the way across to the skipper with the headband on. Pink boots. That distinctive kicking style is perfect. To Quaynor in front of it. Fritsch. 20-metre ball forward. The big guns getting involved. Pendlebury. 19 disposals already for Scott. Quaynor. Patient build-up. Melbourne get numbers back. Dacos comes out for a possession in front of Bowie. So he set up the last one, Nick. And again, they go back to Quaynor.
Again, Gawn's just in the pocket. They're trying to avoid him. They're trying to drag him back out of the way so they can go long to a contest.
There's the big launch. Max is in the middle of it. Not killed completely. Langford pumps it. Frampton under it. Van Rooyen tried to kill the lull. Off the deck. Van Rooyen gets back. Petrarca off the back pedal. High. Chandler. Allen. Little pluck and kick. Petrarca out wide. Chandler. Pendlebury. Chandler kept it in. Could have been high. Langford no free. Howe. Josh Dacos. Frampton. Side bottom. They can reset.
13th disposal for side bottom. Howe forced to kick in a hurry off the outside of the boot. Opportunity for Melbourne. Rivers. Not much ahead. Now the Melbourne jumpers start to flood forward. This goes up. Pickett will stay in a dangerous area, but side bottom. What a footballer this man is. Takes a contested mark, spits it into the middle.
Sullivan's got it. Quaynor on the run. Spear pass. Membry. Back to Sullivan. Caught. Melbourne have numbers around it. Chris dragged down. Umpire says, I'll have it.
Petrarca tracks it. Crisp tracks him. Ends up with a footy on his haunches. All square at quarter time. Collingwood by 8 points at the major break. The Golden Mycheck, his first season out to a game high 14. Whistle. Nick Dacos starting to get some frees now.
He feels a little stiff, a little harshly treated there at Langdon.
Pendlebury.
Coming a lot of important touches, Scotty Pendlebury.
Back to Nick. Wobbles it inside 50. Cut off by McVee. Held his ground. But if Nick's free, it looks like they're going to use him.
Salem. And Bowie looks to go back. Touch indecisive, so he goes the safe option long down the line. But Darcy Moore's there, holding Petty. Josh Dacos, really clever at the back. Quick and slick to Billy Frampton. Now to Allen. Further by hand, side bottom. What's he got in his bag of tricks here? Well done, Rivers. Came back the other way. Stripped the champ of the footy. Now Salem.
Chip is good. Van Rooyen. There's no one to go too long.
He needs to be patient now. Just wait for the forwards to reset.
About to kick it to where he'd like to be. Petty's down there. 3 to beat. Cameron making a statement at the moment.
You just got to have a look if you're Jacob Van Rooyen. If you see the ruckman go there, well, where's Max Gawn? He's in the corridor. Look for a different option.
Bobby Hill Thought he had a goal in his hundreds, but Max Gawn just touched it on the line on review. Takes some ground, Bobby. Outer wing ball. Max is there. So strong in the contest.
Bobby's changed his boots at half-time as well. Chip kick, Big Max. Bit off more than he can chew there. A talk from Josh. May spills it. My check. Lever. My check got free. Hayes. Unselfish. Long. And it's a long road back down for Melbourne.
Well, we spoke about it earlier in the game. If you go to the ground, you take yourself out of the contest. And Jake Lever decides to dive on the ball. And I'm not sure why, because he puts himself in a really tough position. He's not allowed to take possession. You get caught with it. If you don't pick it up cleanly and get it out, someone in trouble. But that's the pressure of going forward. All of a sudden, Max Gawn's tried to take on a kick that he's not up to. May takes the mark, and then for some reason, he just dives and slides at the ball, Jake Lever. And then you're out of the contest.
And it started back with Max Gawn, and I wonder if that's just a byproduct. He's gone, well, if the midfielders keep kicking it to my man, straight line footy, down the line, I'm the skipper, I need to change angles because that's what we need to do. So the mindset was right, but just the option and the execution was really poor, and it's come back to bite them.
6 of the last 7 the way of Collingwood now. Game high 20-point margin. They've got Melbourne on the ropes. Can the D's lift? King's birthday, Gawn. Cameron, Titanic battle. Gawn to Oliver, Petrarca. The big boys combined. Back to Oliver from Petrarca. Sends it inside 50. Melksham. Rare bit of space on Moore. Chance for a quick reply for the D's.
It's one of the few times, isn't it? And I'm not sure it was meant for him to kick. It was Clayton Oliver that just quickly turned and dumped it on the left boot. He actually had more time. He just throws it on the boot as quick as he can. At least it's to dangerous space, and Jake Melksham's able to attack the ball and get there, and this is just an absolutely must kick for the D's.
4 goals versus 303 against Sydney on 198 career goals. Jake Melksham, as Jason said, simply must kick the goal. From 35 out directly in front. No problems, Melksham, much needed for the D's.
Yeah, well, the kick from Clayton Oliver, as you said, Jason, was more by luck than by design. But they'll take it. And again, it was a product of another centre clearance. So this has been where they're dominant. 11-3 Melbourne. We mentioned at halftime, Max Gawn is winning that battle, even though Darcy Cameron's winning the battle around the ground. And Oliver, he just threw on the boot. At least it was to the hot spot and had an angle on it, which at least gave the forwards a chance. And Melksham was able to convert. That was an important finish.
Able to keep it away from Jeremy Howe as well. And when you're going inside 50 for Melbourne, they've got to keep it away from Darcy Cameron if he's back there and away from Jeremy Howe.
Melbourne champ rings around the MCG. Gawn, Cameron stare each other down. Side bottom, Pickett side by side in the middle. Dacos and Petrarca side by side. Long, Oliver, no free either way. Oliver on hands and knees. Petrarca plucked it from legs. Big Maxi, sidestep, bangs it. Petty under it. Howe, too good again.
He just can't be beaten. He's playing one heck of a game, Jeremy Howe.
We don't see as many hangers from him, Jason, but by gee, he's just as effective.
Oh, he's doing everything, Howard. I mean, that's just beautiful. Using the body, using opponent under the ball, taking the mark. He's distributing the ball. He's doing everything.
Centre wing, massive pack of players. McStay and Gawn both there. Stephen May bundled out of the pack. Oliver comes in, does really well. The impressive Langford, Melksham, Moore. This time Moore gets a hand on it, streaks after it. Boundary line beats them all as Big Max comes off for a spell.
Just wonder whether Melbourne considered, Jason, maybe shifting Jake Melksham onto Jeremy Howe and trying to do the same role and nullify his ability to intercept and maybe try and kick one on him, because he's playing the role in Darcy Moore and he's doing okay, but Moore's not the one that's hurting them. It's Howe.
Jason Dussel, Joe Montagna with us today. Great to have their company, great to have your company wherever you're watching. They might have to pull something out of the bag of tricks in the Melbourne coaches box shortly. 36-50.
So don't wait. 11 intercepts already for Jeremy Howe.
Bit of push and shove. Josh Dacos on Langdon. And then Nick came and got involved as well. Shallow entry by the umpire. Van Rooyen. Rivers a tiny bit of space. Melksham's got a couple to beat. Always difficult running back with a flight. Quaynor and Moore take care of the situation.
Melbourne began the day 14th. They'll jump to 10th and be percentage off 9th if they win this. Bulldogs are 9th with 6 wins. Melbourne began the day 5 wins, 7 losses. Big game this for the D's. Side bottom. Collingwood began the day top. They won't lose top spot even if they lose. Josh Dacos holds it up. Back to Sidey.
Collingwood just possessing the footy across half back. Another possession to Howe. May and Membry.
Didn't get the mark, maybe Membry got first touch, but he's been good, Stephen May. He's been good in defence for the D's.
Hold to Collingwood.
Hold again. This time it's Cameron's ball. Nick Dacos comes off, Langdon comes off, and they bring on Pendlebury. That's a luxury. Nice step from Houston. Spear pass into the congestion, long. Pick-up was delightful. The kick. Not quite.
Howes, long ball towards centre wing. Petty, brilliant one-hander against Darcy Moore. Great contested mark. Harrison Petty into Sparrow. Now to the running man Bowie. Forced to kick under pressure. Big fly from behind. And that's better. Melksham starting to have an impact.
Well, this is what he was able to do a couple of weeks ago when they beat Brisbane. He played on Harris Andrews. He took some contested marks. He was 1 against 3 then. It was either Market or Collingwood were going to rebound. They had all the numbers there. That's a spectacular grab. He can go back and kick his second goal here. All of a sudden, they are right back in it.
Teammates right up, Tolstrup celebrating as he took the mark. This for career goal number 200 and 2 in a row for Melksham. Looking for the double ton, keeps it low. Post.
Would have given them some real momentum, Melbourne.
Yep.
In that instance, he was behind Jeremy Howe, so I'm not sure where that just played out because Harrison Petty was up on Darcy Moore, but he did slip out the back of him there, so we'll keep an eye whether that move has been made.
Howe thumps it wide. Lever with that big lever. Thumped into the Sharon, sends it out. You sense the belief amongst Melbourne at the moment.
I think you're right, Joey. I think Melksham is trying to mix things up. Although Jeremy Howe's having none of it. He's kind of in between all of them at the moment, Melksham.
Who's monitoring and motioning to Pickett to stand in a certain area.
He's trying to get up to Jeremy Howe.
Lee Montagna and Jason Dunstall telling you what's going to happen before it does on Fox. High ball, Quaynor. Tolstrup does well to halve it. Back by Houston. Now Frampton onto Moore.
Scott Crispin's been running. Quick flick, good. Bobby. Crunch. Quaynor dumped again. Bobby's changed back to those original boots that he had in the first half. Had the purples on for a little while to start this quarter, come off and change them back. Max. Side bottom. Carefully rolled by Oliver. No free either way. The umpire has thought it with the ball up again.
Neither sub utilised so far. Windsor for Melbourne. Hoskin Elliott for the Pies. Gawn. Beautiful tap. Rivers kicks stymied. Crisp breaks a tackle. Jack Crisp feigns, takes a bounce. Takes on the tackler. Brought to ground, somehow released it by hand. Bobby Hill. Pendlebury fumbled it. Once a year situation that. McVee ragdolled by Hill.
1
Stu, it was a great, desperate effort from McVeigh. He just couldn't hang on to him when he went to ground, so he didn't get the free kick.
Flung in the air. Sarpon again read it better than anybody else. Hunted down by Oliver. Takes it out.
So the desperation's still there from the D's. They're still having a crack. They're doing their best.
Insufficient intent. Free kick Oliver. Sarpon apologised, but the umpire didn't buy the apology.
20-1 disposals for Oliver. Josh Dacos leads all with 30. Now Melbourne send it deep again. French!
That was a much better build-up from Melbourne offensively. They were able to pick their way through that Collingwood defence. And again, it feels like it had a little bit to do with the Jeremy Howe, now the Melcham move to Howe, because Melcham basically had the two guys. He had Billy Frampton on him, and he also was able to track Howe, who just sagged off Sparrow, which gave Sparrow that pocket of space. 2 kicks from home. He then wheeled and got it in. Fritsch was drifting in off ball side, had a slight angle on it. Collingwood weren't able to set up. You can see they're both Moore and Howe high, and Sparrow was able to change an angle. Fritsch got the separation, and now again they've got the momentum in this quarter.
Collingwood started the quarter with 3 goals in a row. Melbourne's responded with 2 in a row of their own.
4-0, the centre bounce clearances in favour of the D's this quarter, 12-3 overall.
And this battle within the battle continues. Gawn, Petrarca, Oliver, the usual suspects. Little Trickler, put his kick late. Perryman came hard. Nick Dacos under it. About to get hunted down. He shrugged Petrarca. Houston, Perryman, a little slip. Flicks it. Quaynor, clever tap. And an even better kick. Hayes went to ground though. Did he have his legs taken? Fritsch is under this. Can he get up? He can. And he goes.
Plays on. Unusual decision. Sparrow into trouble. Stripped to the footy. So good for Melbourne. All of a sudden so bad.
Oh, he just got a hand in at the right time. Dan Houston.
Big contest with Oliver and Hayes. So Collingwood repelled momentarily. Cameron.
My apologies.
Max is down the line, so they avoid that. Max is still in good position. Pendlebury won't kick it to him.
Hey, with him.
Gawn will try and float him from the side, get some body to stay out of the contest.
Howe's back into the lineup for Melbourne this week. Gets up. Big pack around it. Gawn, Cameron, palm down. Langford had a chance, but he slipped, and now he's jumped on, ridden a little. Big crowd in MCG. Game on a nice edge now. Kicked out of the air. A floater. May with a fist, didn't kill it. Put it in Bobby's direction. Caught by the leg. Free kick to Bobby in game 100. He can settle things down with a goal.
Yeah, slid all the way down to the ankle, didn't he? Had to let go once he got below the knee.
He didn't though. He held on for dear life.
Yeah.
Nearly plucked his shoe off.
And this has been the reason why they're so good, is when they need a goal, they kick one. They take their opportunities. They've converted so much better than Melbourne have.
Celebration day for Bobby Hill. Game 100. And he can celebrate that.
Well, that's been the theme again. Just the 6 entries for the quarter. 3 goals, 1. They just take full advantage when they do get those chances. It was a great front square from Bobby Hill to track that contest. He just then tracked the footy when it went over his head. Strong enough to try and break that tackle from first year Xavier Lindsay. Just every time Melbourne look like they're coming and have the momentum, Pies, the great side they are, find a way to answer. Just keep that buffer.
So he's had 4 scores from 6 entries. That's great conversion. And Melbourne have got 4 scores from 10 entries, which isn't terrible, but it's 2 goals 2. Collingwood's 3 goals 1. They do things right. Their execution is so good.
And Melbourne have made their sub for Xavier Lindsay to come off. He gave that free kick away, so he's sitting on the bench there for Caleb Winslow now to get the opportunity, that run and dash.
Thanks, Dad. So Windsor number 6 comes in for the D's. Hoskin Elliott still utilised, not yet utilised for the Pies. Gawn, Cameron, Petrarca, Dacos, big names. Pendlebury adds to them. Houston, toe pokes off the ground. Salem's in good position. Can't get a hand on it. Sullivan does to Memory. Pies pressing from the back. Brought to ground. Pickett. Chance Bobby misses everything off the ground. Back to Pickett. Pickett again. Hand passes straight to Pendlebury. He loses the football as well. Something's McStay, the original target, couldn't get hands to it in the free kick by the D's.
It's hot when you're in Collingwood's forward 50. Every time a Melbourne player got the ball, he was getting tackled. He had to handball to a teammate that was under the pump.
So Windsor on and gets a touch. Out wide, Moore. Couldn't kill it though. Frampton. Little fumble. He's got friends. Side bottom. Our line about to get caught. Just got off in time. Cameron went to ground. And he wins himself a free because he had the ball. All the way back to Josh Dacos. Well, Nick's not going to get him, but maybe Josh will. Possession 31.
Frampton eases it forward. Houston. Melbourne defenders on high alert. Deep in the turn, 13-point margin. It was 8 at half-time, all square at quarter-time. Houston pulls it into the pocket. Big clash over there. Max Gawn arrives, takes bodies down with him. Cameron's a bit slow to get to his feet.
He won't be upset. Poleaxing his opponent there. Big Max Gawn landing on Darcy Cameron after spoiling. A bit of blood coming from the side of the head.
Yeah, he got him. He well and truly got him.
Bobby, we've got a blood rule, so it's going to be a bit of a delay. That's why.
Fair attempt at the ball though.
Yep, not a second glance from Big Max either as he went off. Is this where it is?
Yeah, that's where he might have.
Oh, yeah. Just got a clip from the knee.
So Elliott comes back on. And it'll be McStay to do the ruck work. Forward pocket for Collingwood.
He's been terrific, Darcy Cameron. He only had the 9 disposals, but he's taken 7 marks, 4 of those contested. 4 of them have been intercept marks. He's had his hands full around the ruck contest, but being terrific.
Max just swiped away. Windsor got there, clean-handed. Got up to Langford. Flick on from Pickett. Petty wasn't quite ready for it. Josh Dacos is just ripping his way through them. He slips. Trouble in paradise now. Melbourne's ball.
2 and change to go before the final break.
Set up for the change of direction. They're screaming to change it up.
I like to go down the line. How? He's just too good. He's just too good, the man from Judges Ferry.
It's just the wrong option. They've got to stop going long down the line. They were set up for the switch. Players were screaming for it, and they might have to take a couple of risks to get the ball to the other side of the ground.
Long ball forward this time. The D's intercept through Petty.
It's a wide ball. Petrarca's up and running. This looks good. It's got Melcham out the back. Can he get there? He weighted down. Holding free, Melbourne's ball. Petty was grabbed.
Darcy Moore
Grabbed the arm.
definitely grabbed the arm.
I'm not sure it was the purest kick from Petrarca going inside 50. A bit of a wobbler because I think he was looking for Melksham, who'd found space.
In the shadows of three-quarter time.
They won't go away. The effort's been there for a full 3/4 thus far, the D's.
Harrison Petty. Game 94. Melbourne trying to keep their season alive. Began this season with 5 losses in a row, the D's. But maybe they're on the way back. The stage is set for a massive final term.
Yeah, their pressure's been excellent all day, Melbourne. It was the intercept mark from Lever when he took that, and then he saw the space, so he got it out to the wing. Collingwood had overcommitted offensively. And Petrarca, it probably was meant for Melksham because he was the one that had the separation out the back of Billy Frampton, but Darcy Moore just felt the pressure, grabbed the arm. Melbourne won't lie down, neither will Collingwood. This is going to go to the death. You can tell the way this game is being played, the arm wrestle, it's going to go to the final 5 minutes.
Josh Dacos up to 31 disposals. Oliver's had 22. 3 goals apiece. Back to a 7-point margin. It was 8 at half-time. Nick Dacos. Oliver Strain chasing him. Sends it deep. Does the champ leave a front position? Good contested mark. There's been some good, strong defenders at either end. Lever and May. And Jeremy Howe at the opposite end. Down towards Tolstrup. Max Gordon takes the mark. 30 seconds on the clock. The boards are up telling him the information. Looks at the corridor longingly but decides no. Up and under down the line. Darcy Moore, Petty, Fritsch. Falls to a dangerous area for the Pies. Side bottom. Gets away momentarily. Perryman shins it forward. Overrunning it is Howes. Now Crisp. 7 seconds on the clock. Into the path of Myercheck. Well played by the Demons. So they repel a final push through Daniel Turner. Tight here at the MCG, square at quarter time. Collingwood 8 points to the good at the major break. 3/4 time here. Jeremy Howe doing an amazing job down back. 21 disposals. Petrarca with the game on the line. Collingwood lead at 9-3-57 to Melbourne 7-8-50 by 7 points. Directly after this, Jared and Gary warming up with both coaches on 360. And after that, Jack, Brownie, Louis, Bucks, and a chap by the name of Lee Matthews on the couch.
All right, 3/4 time. M. King, you're right. I tell you what, folks, this is going to be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding final quarter. Melbourne actually won that third term. 3 goals, 2 they kicked in that third term, Melbourne. 3 goals, 1. The Magpies, I tell you what, it's hard going out there for both sides. The MCG, it's a little bit slippery out there today. And, of course, the ground is starting to cut up a little bit. Adrian Sports Channel, come on, Magpies, he's saying. That's what I read anyway. Boo the Demons. Come on, the Magpies. Don't be like that. Hey, Addy, seriously, you really want the Magpies to win. So Melbourne, don't pressure Fremantle for that top 8 spot. They're a chance to do it if they continue to play like this. Mr. Bint went and bought a switch too. Oh, son of all. A switch or a sandwich? Tell you what, you make me hungry if you're talking about a sandwich. Could do for a sandwich. Happy birthday, M. King. There we go. It's his birthday yesterday. 81 still looks likely to be the top score. What are we? 24 points away, 4 goals. I tell you what, goals are goals are hard to come by. Both defences are holding up pretty well in this game, I must say. Some of the umpires' decisions, well, I don't know. I tell you what, it makes you wonder. Let's hope a decision, incorrect decision, doesn't cost the game. In the final quarter, how about in the final quarter, How about get down lower and tackle? Oh, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Well, that one for Bobby Hill was there. He grabbed his ankle and just wouldn't let it go. He said, "Stay with me." And yeah, he nearly injured Bobby's legs. Hey, anyway, we had three. We had about 6 goals kicking that quarter. So let's go and check them out. Kaiser Pickett still leads the way. We've got a mitt full of goal scorers. Tholsop, Sparrow, Pretty, Melsham, Fritz. The Muppet Man, he's like one of the Muppets, isn't he? Bailey Fritsch with his hairdo, it's fantastic. And that's the Melbourne goal scorers for the Maggies. Side bottom, Maya Check, Membry, McStay, McCreary, Ned Long, Bobby Hill, Will Hayes, and Elliott, who's still on the one. He's having a quiet day. There we go. Of course, Josh Dacos, though, he's getting most of the ball out there with 31. Only one in the 30s so far. Quite possibly get into the 40s today. The old boy Scotty Pendlebury 22, Clayton Oliver 22, so going all right. Petrarca 21, Jeremy Howard 21. Some of the big guns coming along. Ned Long having a good game, 18 with 1-1. There we go. Max Gorn, always good. I tell you what, they've just got to not kick it down there. Yeah, a Muppet. You remember the Muppets? Tell you what, he looks like one of those. I don't know whether it was Beaker or someone like that. He was full throttle into the split second decision. I tell you, I don't know how they think they can just change decisions when they go on full pelt like that, and just to change their reaction, etc. like that. It's just probably nearly impossible. And players say that they just keep playing how they used to playing without the change. There are some of your stats. There we go. All right, hey, boys, we're only a minute and 3/4 away from the final term. Yeah, I do remember the character. There we go. So you remember the Muppets. Have a look at him when you're watching him on the big screen. Have a look. You know, that's exactly the thing I thought with his big hairdo. It's just fantastic. It's got to be about a 12-inch standing high hairdo on him. And the funny thing is, it never falters. It never falters, his hairdo, Fritz's. So it's pretty good. Hey, anyway, that's enough of me from talking. Don't forget, put your tip in if you haven't. 67% still. 68% now say the Collingwood Magpies will get up and win. And just for Adrian, let's stick the live ladder on for you, Squire. Let's stick the live ladder on for Eddie G. Collingwood, 44. Game and a half clear on top if they win. Melbourne still down there on 22 games out. This is what I'm talking about. I can still stick that on. But if Melbourne win this, they go to 24, Addy G, they go to 24, and they're up to 10th position. They're only a game behind Fremantle. That's what I'd be worried about if I was Fremantle, that Melbourne are starting to play a reasonable brand of footy. They could be one of your nemesis come the end of the season. Hey, Paul, Sunset Wanderer, how you going, brother? Just in time for the final quarter here. I hope you're down at the bar, in your favourite bar, watching the footy. It's a cracking game so far. Yeah, well, as I said, it's wet. The MCG's getting cut up a bit, but it's going to be a fantastic final quarter. Hey, that's enough of me from jibber jabber and chit and chatting. Let's get back down to the action for the final quarter on the big freeze day between Melbourne and Collingwood, where the Magpies by 7. All I got to say is go Pies.
Off the back of their superstars, it's either going to be Pickett, Petrarca or Gorn. You feel they're going to have a massive fourth quarter. They're going to try and provide something. Melcham there, he made the move. He went to Howe throughout that quarter because of the influence Jeremy Howe's having. So we'll keep an eye on that. Now, I know you can't try and bomb the ball in, but the pressure in this game has been so elite, Jason, that at times you've got no other option just to try and get the ball moving forward. But the defensive groups of both have been so dominant this game.
Quality match comes down to the last half hour. We get to see how this plays out. Can they find something special, the D's?
Well, it comes down to this maybe for Melbourne to get their season alive. Collingwood have a bye next week. They'll leave nothing in the tank, the Magpies. Bounce. Cameron, Gorn. Pendlebury pursues. Left it behind. Cameron slips. Good tackle. Pick out of the middle. Wins it in the job. Splitting the ball free. Playing a dive. Fritsch went down low. Perman tried to cut him off. Not sure what that was from Petty. But it didn't work.
He copped the push there. He'll get the free kick.
Okay.
Pushed in the back from Perryman.
Well, this would be massive if he kicks it from here. Win this case and won. In the gutter, within range, distance won't be an issue. Never gave it a run.
You just feel like it might take one or two moments like that, kicking a half chance, something special to really lift the D's over the line here.
Kicked through the last 4, Melbourne, after Collingwood got out to 20 points. Rivers, slick hands, Howes, Lever, Bowie, up and under. Tough one for everybody. Penny comes in hard. Crisp stays down, gathers the crumbs, sends it back, but only as far as a couple of Demons and Lever.
They are the close game specialists, Collingwood. Have been for a few years under Craig McRae. Lever launches. Petty from 5 deep doesn't go. Stayed down. Perryman crumbs it. How's the umpire going to read that? Not as the MCC members read it.
Melbourne pressing at the start of the final term. A cold winter's evening in Melbourne. Crisp, a little bit of space. Pendlebury creates it to his mate's side bottom. Takes the bounce. McStay's forward of the footy. They pressure him. And Stephen May again. It's Jeremy Howe at one end and Stephen May at the other at the moment.
Yeah, just great positioning from May. You saw side bottom signalling to Elliott to lead up at him because May had taken the front space.
Don't think he liked the contact from Elliott either. He might have had a couple of words to say after he took the mark.
Hayes was cut some slack there.
Yeah, sometimes that's 50, normally 9 times out of 10.
Not if you're a second gamer, obviously. You get cut some slack because you maybe didn't know. Okay, there's your 50. Petty's ball. Crowd's in full voice at the moment. Ed Allen has been subbed out by the looks of it. Frampton takes a brilliant grab. It's been good, Billy.
So Hospital comes in. Turnover.
Pickett.
The Demons drive it deep. Gone. Cameron, the 2 premier ruckmen. A bit of fancy footwork from Cameron. Falls to Fritsch. Tries to do the same. Bailey Fritsch has got 2. A Melbourne draw within 1 point on King's birthday.
Well, it's a fantastic snap from Fritsch, but they missed it easy inside 50 to Cossie Pickett. It was in the corridor all on his own. All of a sudden, they only had eyes for Max Gawn, and it was Ruckman v. Ruckman deep in the goal square. You'll see Pickett in the middle of the screen. Just a little chip over the top, and he has the set shot, but they went to the one-on-one. Cameron did well to get a boot to the ball, and then he was asking his other defenders to come and help, but Fritsch was first there, and that's a quality snap.
I've liked Fritsch's game today. He's competed hard. He's won some contests. He's now kicked a couple out of the 14 disposals. But he halved that one earlier in the quarter where Harrison Petty had the shot for goal, which was an important one. He's got some X factor about him.
Collingwood's led for the entire second half. Melbourne led early in the game. Back in the middle, Van Rooyen and McStay, the 2 second rucks. Slammed into the deck. McStay, who's holding free is this? Umpire calls it back. Dacos and Oliver holding each other off the ball. Little hush. Falls over the full MCG. It's living up to the expectation, this one. Down towards Pickett, little knock on. Got it to Bowie, wrapped up, going nowhere.
Van Rooyen, clever. Oliver didn't get much purchase off the footy. Chandler flew early. Cozzy kicked a couple. Got an issue. Nick's got him. Great tackle, Nick Dacos.
Yeah, brilliant. That's what you can do when you're getting tagged. And that's going to
No.
Did he have possession of it and put it down?
Yeah,
it's there under his arm, isn't it? So he lets it go.
He did it last week.
Yep, that's a bad.
He did the same thing last week and didn't learn his lesson.
You just present Collingwood with a goal. A really bad mental error.
And of all people to let back into the game, Nick Dacos.
I know you're disappointed getting caught and disappointed getting pinged, but you just can't. You can't exacerbate the situation by giving away 50.
And we've seen this with Nick Dacos before. He can hold him for 2 quarters or 3 quarters. But he's A-class. And he's a cold-blooded killer.
Yeah, just as importantly, you bring Nick Dacos into the game, which is the one thing you don't want to do when he's been so well held for 3 quarters.
Well, sometimes you get your luck, but he got his luck because he went and did the defensive acts. It was a terrific tackle. Cozzy Piggott normally can break out of them. Nick didn't allow him. And then this, you've just got to know the rules. Cozzy's got to be better than this. That's 50 every day of the week. Nick Dacos knew.
He knows it too. He knows it. He doesn't protest.
They're going to be the little things that are going to decide this game.
Melbourne drew within a point.
Yeah,
they would stretch it back out.
And they've worked so hard for it, Howie, and then you cough it up with something like that.
Yet to get a number on the crowd, but it is big at the MCG. Van Rooyen, McCreary having a run in the middle. Petrarca gets him. Get in the middle, you got to get moving. Pickett trying to make amends, sends it forward. Melksham. Out comes Fritsch, has got a couple, one for the term.
Edge of the seat stuff. The little things, now big things. Can Pickett get them one back? He owes them one. Nick, another touch. Van Rooyen. Langford. The spoil. Fritsch! The Fritsch magnet! He's got a couple in this last quarter. He's got 3 for the game.
Oh, that is a crumbing goal. Perfect front and square. The Fritsch man. I love it. I love it, Dwayne. But that is, they needed to bounce back quickly. They've got some momentum. They've got some belief, the D's. We know that Collingwood aren't going to hand this game to them. They've got to go and take it. And they're driving the ball forward, winning the clearances. Then you set it up. Good pressure. They don't allow the easy exit. They've been really good with their pressure for 4 quarters. And then you get a good contest from Melksham. A good contest against Moore. And Fritsch gets front and square.
Two for the term for Fritsch, 3 for the match. Lindsay and Ellens subbed out. Crowd starting to get really engaged now at the MCG. Melbourne fans at the punt road end are out of their seats. Back to a 1-point game. Everything we hoped for on King's birthday. Nick Dacos, you just can't stop him for a whole game. He's starting to take over to Pendlebury. Sends it deep forward. My check. Memory. May. Magnificent May.
An old recruiter once said, you can't have all choir, boys. He's a different unit, Stephen May, but boy, he can play footy. Off hands, Pickett, inside kick, good grab, Rivers, they run for him. And he just punts it, 2-on-2 inside 50. Ball hits to deck, Howe with poise. Josh Dacos, Siney sits under it, solid as ever. Steel-hearted with Steele, got it to Quaynor, to Pendles, to Hayes.
Hayes just off the bench. He's got Memory ahead of the footy. Makes a bit of a mess of the kick. Still got time to get it to Memory. Shapes the hand pass. Long's got options. He looks ahead only. Makes a bit of a mess of it. Hoskin Elliott was streaming down the outer flank. Elliott was there as well.
He was. Look, Hoskin Elliott was an easy kick, but he also was running straight at goal. It's one you should kick as an on-baller. He just stabbed at it.
Collingwood looking for the quick response. Cameron and Gawn, what a battle that's been today. So Bobby Hill just having a finger realignment. He comes again, does Bobby, with a bit of passion. Windsor spirals it out of defence, more marks.
the super captain, Darcy Moore. As I mentioned, father, a superstar with both clubs. And he launches it. Who wants to launch at it? Big Maxi! Hands like a vice.
Cadell Evans down the slide earlier on, the Tour de France winner, dressed as Max Gawn, who likes his cycling himself. Dumps it to the outer side. Van Rooyen in front of Frampton. Plays on. Looks down the line for Melcham. Uses body on Darcy Moore. He's had a good second half. Squeezes it to Fritsch, who's the hot hand. Oh, plays on. Wobbles it forward. Just got a touch. Ambitious there, the Fritsch. And misses.
That's inexcusable. Why would you play on without looking?
He just didn't know Quainer was coming. They got all that work.
And then you have a handball option over the top anyway. But why play on? You've got a set shot 20 out.
He thought he was out and free. He thought he was home.
You're never free in this game, Joey.
They've blown it. They did so well. 3 contested marks all the way down the ground. Couldn't finish it.
Memory, great hands. Scores a level. We've got a 13.5-minute game now. Start all over again. 63 apiece. Collingwood, the close game specialists. Melbourne playing out of their skins. And Turner has become a fantastic defender.
Gee, intercept marking from both defences has been a feature. The ruckman, the backs.
Stephen May with 5 intercepts himself. Fritsch in everything at the moment for good and bad. To space, here comes Cozzy. You can't stop Cozzy. You cannot stop Cozzy. He's got 3 and Melbourne lead by a kick.
Oh, that is why they had the match winners, Jace. Just something out of nothing. Fritsch just handballed inside 50 and hoped that it'd be Cozzy that could swoop, and he just happened to be there. Again, just kicked to a contest, the front and square work. And then look how quick he was to pounce clean. One step. He is an absolute superstar of this competition. And he has set the MCG alight.
Now it's Melbourne that is getting bang for buck when they go forward. 6 inside 50s for 4 scores. Importantly, it's 3 goals, 1. Collingwood 4 inside 50s for the 1 score, which was the goal. So Melbourne for the first time getting maximum reward when they go forward, and they have got the momentum right now in this game.
They've got the energy too, you can see them. They're still running on top of the ground. They're feeling really good about themselves here.
Melbourne could be percentage off 9th if they win this. Having begun the season with 5 losses in a row. Bounce to restart it. Cameron, Gawn.
I'll tell you what else we know though, Dwayne. We know how good Collingwood's record is in close games. They can win close ones. They find a way. They are the best in the competition.
McCreary are holding free. Down the spine to Pendles.
Oh, he's not the one. They've got to keep the ball out of his hands or they'll get hurt, Melbourne.
Puts it up. Big fist went out. Got to concede a behind now.
He actually apologised after that kick, Scotty Pendlebury. He knew he'd set it too deep, too close to goal, allowing it to be spoiled.
5-point margin. Melbourne have kicked 3 goals to 1 for the term. They trailed by 7 at the final break. Nick Dacos starting to get very busy, which is a concern for Melbourne. Chris Hayes, lightly framed, stripped to the footy. Petrarca, not so lightly framed, picks it up the ball. Fritsch will stay down. Darcy Moore, Melcham. Moore did really well to keep it away from Fritsch. He knew he was there and he kept him out of the play.
Unbelievable fist by Moore. It was a 30-metre fist to the boundary. He knew exactly what he was doing there.
He had to get it away because, again, Bailey Fritsch got out goal side on Jeremy Howe. He's done that a number of times in this last quarter. If he had picked it up, would have been another inside 50 opportunity.
Gawn with the palm. Oliver with the crumb. Flicks it up. Windsor. Outside of the boot. Good attack. Hoskin Elliott. The old school long sleeves has come on as the sub. Out wide to Bobby.
It's got the runners. Pinpoint pass forward. Memory. Now Collingwood build. Has to wait for some black and white jumpers to get ahead of the Sharon. Tries to ease it down the outer side. Works out well to Long. High ball drop. McStay! High quality footy.
Well, take it back to half forward for the D's. And Caleb wins against the ball. And if he has a look, he's got Langford squared, but he just rushes the kick because he feels the pressure coming. And he turns it over and hits Hoskin Elliott. And then Collingwood rebound. All of a sudden, here they are having a shot for goal. Just those little sliding doors moments.
Kick Collingwood's opener, McStay back in the side. Trots in. Punches it through. Collingwood back in front.
You know they're going to keep coming. You're not the best in the competition without good reason. They love these tight games. They love finding ways to get themselves over the line. They accept these challenges. And they are so good at lifting when they need to. They've got so many players in different positions on the ground that can all impact. And here's Dan McStay coming back. We saw him kick the first goal of the game. Now he takes the big mark. Turner unable to get there and spoil. He goes back and he calmly slots it through. Another lead change.
First game since he hurt his knee Anzac Day against Essendon, Dan McStay. He's one of the Collingwood players out there yet to win a flag. Slammed into the deck. Gone. Over to you, Melbourne. Can you do it again? Chandler flicks it up. Petrarca tried to hunt it. Gorn got there first. Bowie around his body. One-on-one. Quain off front spot. Didn't hold it long enough. Petrarca goes back in. Houston against the grain. McCreary had a bounce on the slippery deck. Took him on. Goes long. Elliott McStay. Couldn't mark it. Bowie crumbs it. Floats it back out. Will Hoskin Elliott with the saving grab.
Squares it. McCreary. Too far out to score, you'd reckon. Bowie stands at 52.
Yeah, someone needs to stand to the right of the mark here because he's got the speed. And you can see Bowie just signalling to a teammate just to be wary that he doesn't run around, take advantage of the standing on the mark just to get himself close to the 50. I think it's Dahlstrom that just comes a little closer now to stop him from doing that.
But it means Houston's free in the pocket from long range. McCreary right to the teeth of goal. Melbourne deal with it.
Everybody takes a breath. It's evolving into a classic. Salem. Heads long, Petty's his target. Front spot was Sparrow. Ball knocked out of play. You feel like Melbourne's season might hinge on this. They begin the day 14th, or jump to 10th. If they win, they're 5 wins, 7 losses. Collingwood will stay top even if they lose.
Nick Dacos 5 disposals for the term. Pendlebury 4. Fritsch 2 goals 1. Neither ruckman gets a hand on it. Rivers, premiership player, off the ground. Petty, Frampton, Petty, Quain Orr, good tackle. Chandler stays off the footy. A lot of players around it. Chain of hand pass, 1, 2, 3, 4. Side bottom, bashes it forward. High pressure football. Cameron clean. He looked for Long, who fell over. Long comes a second time. Right in front of the benches.
Gee, every contest is crucial now. The pressure, the ground ball. It's just going to come down to who can be clean and take an opportunity. There's not going to be many chances.
Big Max with the slap. Oliver pumps it. Bouncing ball. Eludes both Melksham and Moore. It rolls. Quainer. The boundary line was there. Holstrup lays a pretty good tackle. It's still in there somewhere. 2-point game. This is the stuff dreams are made of. Full house. MCG. 1 kick game. Time for a hero.
Collingwood 2 to the good. It was square at quarter time. Collingwood by 8 at half time and 7 at 3/4 time after Collingwood got out to a 20-point margin midway through the third term. Packed MCG. Gorn, front position, grabs out of the ruck, throws it on the boot. Maxi narrows it to one solitary point.
Big Max. He's been so dangerous at every ball up or throw in.
7-time All-Australian. 8th. If he gets it again this year, Max, there's an argument to say he's the best ruckman.
Well done.
Maybe of all time. Free kick, Melbourne's way.
He held his body position strongly against Myercheck and got the high contact.
Turner looks up. Max Gorn's about 30 away. He sends it longer. Goal square. Fritsch is there. Big fists went out. Chandler, little knock to his disadvantage. Sideline, toe poke, tap, toe poke. Goes and gets Sidey. Father Time can't catch him. Neither can Melbourne. Got it out wide. Hammered by Hayes. Lever couldn't kill it. Ball in.
If that had maybe gone in the hands of a more experienced Collingwood player, they would have given one more handball over the top to Quaynor and they would have been out for a deeper entry, but Hayes just didn't quite have the experience and know how to be able to give the ball over the top, kicked it to a contest.
Everything you could hope for coming to the footy. Under 10 to go, under a point in it. Both ruckman appeal. It's going the way of Pies. Cameron.
Max Gorn over the shoulder, just a little one. He didn't argue though, he just sprinted straight back to where he needed to be, worrying about the next contest.
Side bottom out in grand final territory.
He's just as likely to kick a barrel. Side bottom.
Takes a bit off it. Hoskin Elliott had an impact since he came on in the long sleeves.
Once again, just the experience and composure. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, Jake Bowie not happy. He's ropeable that none of his teammates have filled up the leading hole.
Seven goals for the season. Centres it, if anything. And Max Gorn, he's just an absolute superhuman back there. And Melbourne hit the corridor.
But down to Maxi's man. Cameron.
That was a panic kick.
Josh Dacos, possession 34. Pendlebury, the General, the Rolls Royce, the on-field coach. He's going to send it to the pocket with a sizzler. Push, Nick Dacos free.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy. Is that going to rattle the cage?
Well, I keep coming back to that panic kick out of defence from Daniel Turner. Max Gorn gave the hand pass because he had three players ready to run. That's the most minute of touches on the back. Extraordinary. I think we've seen
that a lot.
A hell of a lot worse let go than that.
He's up there in the conversation for best players in the competition. They shut him down for the best part of 3 quarters. This is huge. And he misses to the near side. Only a behind.
Langdon goes over and tells him all about it as well.
This was the passage there we spoke about. We just saw the numbers that they had to chain it out, but Dan Turner, a bit of an experience and a bit of rush of blood late in the game.
He slices it to the other side. A lot of players fall down. Max got the free kick. They take the advantage through Longford. Langford's going to be hard for Fritsch. Does well to Harvard against 2. Comes at ground level. Petrarca just missed the running Langford. Quaynor overruns it. Mistakes being made. Pressure high. Hold the ball.
Well, he was desperate to get there, but he slid in. That was the problem. As soon as you slide on the ball, Langford gets caught. You've got to get it out once you slide. Once you go to ground and take possession, it's your responsibility to get the ball out.
To a big pack, Gorn's in it. And Turner turned into a brilliant defender. Doesn't want to turn it over, though.
Now they're out here.
Windsor, the sub, fresh legs, he can go. It's got Chandler screaming. He's doing star jumps on the wing. Chandler holds it up. 2 points to margin.
Plays on the left. Just bombs it inside 50. Might work out, and it does.
What a great kick. He just wandered his way in, Chandler. He kept looking, and he saw where Bolstrop was on his own.
The young man from Esperance gets his moment in game 15.
He'll kick from right on 50.
In front of 77,000 people. Tolstrup from right on the paint, right to the teeth of goal. Collingwood keep it in. Quaynor now hurries it through. Back to a 1-point margin.
Gee, the draw's now on. We can have a fifth quarter of this, couldn't we?
Oh, what a cracking contest it's been. It mightn't be high scoring, but it doesn't need to be when you get a game like this. Gee, that was right on the line.
Quaynor. Can Melbourne somehow unlock this Collingwood secret of winning close game after close game? Wide ball, off hands, Bowie. Got it from Howes. Gives it back to him. With some poise, back to Bowie. Picked it up off his bootlaces. Gets under that kick a little. Collingwood numbers, crisp. Takes control of it.
Immediate switch on. He's got the hard runners. Jeremy Howe amongst Collingwood's best. Got men further ahead of the footy in Perryman. Side bottom leads up at the footy. Possession 24 coming up for Steele.
Look at the old hands getting involved. Side bottom, Pendlebury just making good decisions with the football.
28 for Pendlebury, brilliant to Cameron. Sweeps it out wide to Quaynor. Takes his time. Hoskin Elliott again.
He's got Bobby Hill long. He goes short. Memory. My checks just outside the goal square. Do they hold possession or go to a contest to hold possession? Quaynor. And more seconds come off the clock.
And they've just set the field up here to continue to get uncontested marks. So it's up to Melbourne to adjust, squeeze up.
Frampton. He has put it back to a 50-50, Billy. 2 minutes left. 50-50 ball for the ball in.
This is the chance for Gawn. There's the crowd number, 77,000, Howie. 761. Incredible.
And they're just about all on the edge of their seats. 1-point margin. Melbourne pressing, looking for a big upset. Bowie ahead to Petrarca. Hand passes to space, if anything, through the legs. Melksham does well. Back to Oliver. Pokes it forward, wide, and out in the full.
He lacks confidence to carry the ball, Clayton Oliver. He kicked it off one step without even looking. It's bizarre. A player of such high quality has just lost the confidence to actually make a decision with the footy.
Max in the middle of the pack, knocks it down. This one's not in the book for Collingwood yet. Don't search for your car keys just yet. 1:38 left. The big steal on King's birthday still on for Melbourne. Can they get their season back on track? Can they rip this away? Rivers caught. Feeds it wide. This is the moment. Langford. High bomb. Melksham, who's going to rise? They all do. From his massive. Chandler had it, lost it. Perryman rolls it away. Seconds keep rolling. Ball kept rolling. A weary McCreary. Bumps it long. Elliott. Ugly bounce. Turns inside. If Pendles marks it, it might be over.
Pendlebury with 58 seconds on the clock. He'll use everything he can. He points to home.
You got to man up. You got to man up.
Shapes.
You know he's going to kick back.
So obvious, wasn't it?
And who's he going to go to? Another old head in side bottom. He'll take his time and make the right decision. They'll go long to the pocket if need be, or he'll go backwards to a loose.
Melbourne need an intercept. They've got Maxi. He's the big hope. And he delivers. 38 seconds. Go, Maxi, go.
Oh, no, Max. What are you doing?
Oh, he went on too quickly. He had to go for something, but that might not have been it.
Something is not a standing torpedo into the corridor. That's it. I get what Max is trying to do. A switch is the right play, but a one-step barrel into the corridor.
Will Hoskin Elliott just heads wide. They take the seconds off. Don't you want to be them? They're top of the pops, Collingwood. The team to beat in 2025. You just can't beat them in close finishes. You just can't beat them. One last kick for a second left. Bobby. It's my party. I'll let fly if I want to. He had the crack in game 100. A 1-point win to the Pies.
Well, it's just what they do, Collingwood. They just find a way to hang on and win. Melbourne gave it their absolute all. They have to be proud of their efforts. They had 9 more entries. They dominated clearance in the end, plus 10, but they just weren't good enough. Collingwood just defend when they have to. They find ways to kick goals when they might be up against it. And they have too many experienced and class players that just get the job done.
It was a game of millimetres. They just didn't match Collingwood's class when it came to decision-making or execution. 11-6 to 10-11, better conversion. And a really interesting exchange on the siren between Stephen May and Max Gawn after that last kick. Anyway, let's head down to Eddie Betts.
Just down here with me at the moment, Scotty Penry, mate. Monday night, couldn't ask for a better game of that, mate. How are you feeling?
Oh, a bit buggered now. Feels like a long wait to get here, but both sides. I thought we played in great spirit the game. Obviously, it's more than just the game with Neil and the amount of blue beanies. It's fantastic. So everyone out there, donate, buy a beanie, or there's so many different options. But it's great to see so many faces out here supporting a cause that's bigger than footy.
And we speak about the Collingwood Football Club and the young bulls and the young talent going around there. But the old guys are standing up as well. Yourself, Scotty Penderby, and Howie down back have been superb.
Yeah, Howie was awesome tonight. But yeah, I think as our side, we're just trying to play really team-orientated footy and not rely too heavily on one player. So, you know, it ebbed and flowed a lot today. I thought Melbourne were fantastic. You know, those games, flip a coin, they can go either way. But you know, we practice those scenarios a lot for days like this.
And we speak about the one player, Nick Dacos. Ed Langan went to him, tamed him pretty well for the whole game, but you can't hold a great player down.
No, I see him by the end there. I think he nearly had 20 in kick 2, so if that's a quiet day for Nick, well, and we know sides are going to go after him, and it's our job to try and help him. And also, I thought he kept working and trying to do things, and you know, that's his lot in life for probably the next 20 years.
Well done, mate. Great game and a super win by you boys. Well done.
Cheers. Thanks.
29 disposals for Scott Pendlebury, 25 for Steele Sidebottom. They just keep getting better and better with age. A 1-point win for Collingwood. Well, this is the moment in the closing stages that Jason was referring to. So there's about 35 seconds on the clock. Max stands up, as he has done all day. Just needed to get it going forward. Went the barrel, got it off the instep, kicked it straight to Hoskin Elliott. There was the game. Looked like he was getting some reasonably direct feedback. Always hard to know what's being said out on the ground. And then Robbie Hill gets the footy. Daniel Turner congratulating him, and Stephen May having a chat with him as well, and pushed away by the skipper. Motion's high.
Yeah, it's hard not to read into that they weren't on the same page, and maybe there's some friction there as to what should have happened game plan wise in that moment. But Max is the captain, you can't question him ever. We head downstairs for the presentation.
On behalf of the Melbourne and Collingwood Football Clubs, I'm here to announce the winner of the Neil Danaher Trophy. Presented on behalf of Neil Danaher, his commitment and energy in the fight against MND. Presented to the player, Judge Best Field. Here to present the award is Ben Danaher.
The winner of the Neil Danaher Trophy is Josh Dacos.
Absolute day, honoured to be a part of it with Melbourne, Big Freeze 11. What a game, and well done to everyone for continuing to raise money for MND. All the best to Melbourne for the rest of the year, and well done to our boys.
Congratulations, Josh. Congratulations, Collingwood. Well done, everybody. That now concludes the ceremony. Travel safe.
Congratulations to the Collingwood Football Club. Once again, they get it done in a tight 1-point winners over Melbourne. That was an absorbing, thrilling game of football. Jason Dunstall, Brad Johnson and Joey Montagna. The atmosphere here at the MCG. This has been a wonderful day to be part of.
An incredible day. And this mob we're looking at right now, they're the best in the business. Didn't play their very best. They had their best player in Nick Dacos well covered, but they find a way to get over the line. And as soon as they see a tight game, a tight scenario, it's like they go to another level. They take it as a personal challenge and they find a way to get through it.
The direction at ground level in the last 5 to 7 minutes of the game from Collingwood, they're pushing up, they're communicating constantly. So there's no wonder, Jason, that they are so good in these scenarios. They know exactly how to play it out. But it was the way they pushed up, and then they just go back. They get the turnover at half back, and off they go into space, which then opens up and exposes the defence.
Well, firstly, full credit to the 46 players that played today. That game lived up to the occasion. That's all we wanted. They all left it out there. Blood, sweat and tears on the ground. But this is the end of the game, Jason.
Yeah, and we just saw Max Gawn walk off the ground. He looked angry. So this is after he attempted a very extravagant kick back into the corridor with about 40 seconds left on the clock. He went for a standing torpedo. It got turned over, and that was the end of the game. Stephen May went up and said a few things after the siren. Max Gawn didn't like it, and he's walked straight in and away from everyone, straight into the room. He's not happy.
Well, we have spoken to Stephen May before. He's spoken how he's very direct on the field. That is what he's known for, heat of the moment. So whether he's just been a bit too strong with Max Gawn's final play and what he was trying to do, and Max Gawn's probably thinking, come on, mate, I've busted my gut out here. They almost got us over the line. I've tried to create. Yes, it might not have been the right option, but come on, maybe not the time and place. I'm sure they'll fix that up after the game. It won't be an issue, but just then and there, heat of the moment, two competitors that were just desperate to win.
Max was awesome late. He was enormous. Yep. It was that one mistake. How does Simon Goodwin handle that between the pair?
The funny thing is, Stephen May was just as good. I thought he played a brilliant game, took care of Jamie Elliott. He took some great intercept marks. It's a difficult scenario. What it shows is they're passionate about a game that they felt they could have, if not should have, won, because they did so many things right. They played so well. They're still talking about some of the things that went on. So, look, they're not going to forget this in a hurry. Stephen May's the leader of the club. We know Max Gawn's a brilliant skipper. They'll have a chat about it once just let emotions cool down a little bit.
Yeah, they'll work through it, absolutely. Yeah. So there's no question in regards to that side of things. But they'll learn so much out of this entire game, I think, Melbourne, because they handled the pressure in some moments. In others, especially going inside 50, which we spoke about a fair bit today, they didn't handle it as well as what they would like. So they'll talk about the Max Gawn scenario at the end. They'll talk about so many things because they left so much out there today when they played so well.
What about the pies and the luxury of the experience and those dying moments when Scott Pendlebury gets the ball and then can kick it to Steele's side bottom? I mean, these guys that have played so much football together, you may as well have had Craig McRae out there on the ground. They're two coaches, essentially.
Yeah, you can see up from upstairs in the box, Pendlebury started directing everyone with about 5 minutes to go. He went back behind the ball because they wanted to start creating an uncontested mark to just take time off the clock, to set the ground up how they wanted. So that's what they've done now for a number of years. We've spoken about this a lot. This is why they are the best team that we've probably ever seen in close games over the last few seasons, and led by Pendlebury. They knew exactly what they wanted to do the whole time there, and they've been in that situation so often now in these big games in front of big crowds that it didn't faze them at all, and they weren't overawed.
And sometimes you wonder why great players that might be past their actual peak are so valuable to clubs, and they want to keep playing them until they've milked everything out of them, because that experience is invaluable. They make good decisions and they help the players around them out on the ground.
So sitting pretty at the top of the ladder, they now hit the bye, and they only travel 2 more times for the rest of the year. So the run home to September, they can probably afford to rest players as needed, manage them through, and hit September in prime form.
I mean, seriously, have a look at the year. It was an aberration in the opening round where they got absolutely smashed by GWS. Then they won 6 in a row. They lose the game to the Cats by 3 points. Now they've won another 5 in a row. They are just travelling along beautifully, and they can be planning for another deep assault in September.
And McStay back, we saw, he's valued up, the ability to take contested marks and convert. We heard from Ralphie earlier, they've got DeGoey and Maynard not far away. Everything's travelling beautifully for the Pies at the moment.
And their best player didn't play anywhere near his best.
Well, that's right, and he still walks up with 20 and a couple of shots and goals. So there wasn't. It's such a learning game for Nick Dacos. Do you know
what I love, John? Just before you go on, he's still celebrating, and he's not moping because he didn't get best on. He's not one of those that is just about himself. He's enjoying the team's success here.
I remember Scotty Wine way back when we talked to us younger players when you used to get a run with on you, and he'd talk about 20 and 2 is better than your 35 sometimes.
Correct.
Because you have to work for them.
Yep.
So you learn so much as a player when you're in these scenarios, which just helps accelerate you when you don't get that direct opponent.
Pick the vital goal from the last quarter.
It's different.
From the tackle, just doing some defensive things. Got the tackle on Cosy Piggott, then gets a bit of luck with the 50-metre penalty and converts.
Bobby Hill there in his 100th game, and that man on screen, Jeremy Howe, another game, Joey.
I thought he was outstanding. I thought he was the best player on the ground, Jeremy Howe. His first 3 quarters, his ability to intercept, set the game up. Melbourne had to change plans with what they had with Melksham to Darcy Moore and try and quell his influence. I thought he was sensational.
It's like a creche down there at the moment. There are kids everywhere because a lot of these players are dads, and they're an experienced group, and it's holding them in good stead at the moment.
And the other thing clubs do really well these days is they embrace the whole family. Everyone's a part of the greater football family at the football club. So this is great to see. They'll enjoy this. They found their way out of another tight one. They didn't play their best, but most professional side going around.
A big day for the Dacos family. We can see Nick there, who's the big talking point. Brother Josh playing it and winning the trophy, and then Dad on the slide earlier. So the Dacos is right in the headlines as we head into the rooms. And the players and the family will sing the famous Collingwood song. It is not over here on Fox Footy. AFL 360, both coaches will join Gary and Jared at the desk, and we'll head back to Fox Footy HQ for On the Couch. And the great one, Lee Matthews, returns. Looking forward to getting his opinions on what we've just witnessed today, and can't wait to hear what Gary Lyon makes of that exchange between Big Maxi and Stephen May, the Melbourne great. We'll be disappointed the D's couldn't get the job done, but that was going to be a really big talking point. Let's have a look at some quarter form moments of the match, because that is where it all came down to, and some execution, Jason, and some good decision-making from the Pies that just excelled.
It was. Look, they fought back well late in that third term. It broke out to a 20-point margin and it looked trouble. They got back to within a kick, and then it was going to come down to the wire. We saw Bailey Fritsch get a great crumbing goal. Here's a fantastic tackle that Joey was talking about. Some of the things that Nick Dacos can do, he doesn't have to be getting his 30 touches all the time. Gets the 50-metre penalty and he goes back and kicks the goal. And that gets him involved. That makes him feel good about making a contribution. His teammates are up and about, and they know it's a critical one. Here's another one. Bailey Fritsch again. I thought he had an average game up until that point in time, but he kicked a couple of really important goals for him.
He was very good in the last goal. This moment here, he just didn't see Quainer coming behind. I'm with you, Jason, in commentary where you were talking about just take the mark and go back and have the set shot. He didn't see his teammate in the goal square. Piggott was looking sharp early on as well, Joey. Melbourne's first 10 to 15 minutes was exactly where they needed it to be. But Collingwood, they just keep hanging in there.
Well, that's right. Every time they challenged, they just found a way. The kick from long had the angle on it. This is the value of being able to take contested marks inside 50. This is what Dan McStay brings to this football club. He goes back and converts.
We're going to head down into the rooms. Darcy Cameron is watching these highlights unfold with us on Fox Footy. Darcy, some tense moments in that final quarter. But do you guys just always back yourselves and your system in that you're going to be able to be composed in those big moments?
Yeah, definitely. I think as soon as they hit the front in that last quarter, we trusted our system to get it done. We've been in those positions a lot over the last few years. So we just backed our system and a lot of trust and belief in the boys.
Darcy, tell us about the challenge of taking on Max Gawn. You're the two premier ruckmen in the competition. It was another fantastic battle between the two of you head-to-head.
Yeah, it doesn't get much harder than Big Maxi. He's an unreal competitor. Every single matchup is always, whether it's his ruck craft or his aerial, is always so dominant in one of the aspects. So I'm just happy we got the 4 points tonight and played my role.
You certainly didn't get the 4 points, but how did you assess the battle? Did you think that you won that contest? Because early you were able to mark the ball around the ground, but Maxi was probably winning the hit-outs. How did you assess it head-to-head?
Oh, I still think he got the chockies. His hit-outs, especially in the first half, were really damaging. But second half, I feel like I brought my aerial game into it and got a little bit better around the contest. But like I said, it was a really good contest between us both. And yeah, he played really well. He always does.
Darcy, take us into some of the chats you would have had with your coach today in Craig McRae, especially early in the first half of the game, because Melbourne threw something a little bit different at you, challenged you in various areas. What were you trying to take back from them throughout this game?
Well, probably off-the-line kicks going inside 50. Their defensive system really stacks up, and it has over the last few years. And their aerial power down there was unreal. May, Turner, Lever, they were just so dominant in the air down there. And we weren't giving them too many chances with our kicks too. We were sort of sitting on their heads. So we tidied that up. Also using maybe an extra handball, or we always seem to have a free that we didn't sort of use at half-time, that we saw some edits on. And then we just tried to tidy that up.
But if you weren't marking the ball high up in the air, you were getting down on the ground. You copped a decent old knee to the head, which drew some claret. How's the bonks, mate?
The bonk's good. I actually said to the boys yesterday I was due for a little nick. And I think I mozzed myself.
Darcy, talk to us about Nick Dacos and the instructions from the coach. Obviously, he was having a really close tag. What's the advice to you guys as to how you can help him out?
Well, I think we didn't support him enough in the first half, and that was probably the advice going into the third quarter, and ways we can support him. We probably left him out alone, and we never want to be that team that sort of don't look after each other. So we try to get around him, get the ball in his hands because he's so damaging with it. And yeah, he had a really impactful second half.
Darcy, who leads the communication late in the game? Because every line has a role to play. Who are the players that are leading the setups, leading the way that you want to execute in those final minutes?
I think we all do. If you want to be a part of this team, you have to be able to take it upon yourself to, call critical. See the critical plays and make big calls and communicate with each other and step into your role. So I think we all have to. But the usual suspects are Pendles and Sidey. They've done it for so long and they're so good at that in that leadership.
Darcy, just want to ask you a personal question. The last couple of seasons, not that you weren't good before that, but it seems to me like you've elevated your game. You're really challenging Max Gawn as the number one ruckman in the game. Have you done anything differently? Is there a reason why your game has gone to that next level?
I think I just started backing myself a little bit more. There's a bit more belief around the team after 2022. Put on a bit more size, and when I did have that, when I was able to take the number one role, I was able to, have a bit more belief in myself that I could go out there and compete with the best. Just growing confidence for those first few years, and now really starting to like what I'm doing.
Sorry, mate, just before you now got the bye coming up. this week. What's the plans for yourself, the team? How does it look? Do you get to go away, get some sun, get out of this shocking weather in Melbourne?
Yeah, I think you said half the team will be in Noosa, so I'll be sticking here in rainy Melbourne, but it's good to just sit and have a little reset, a few days off, maybe a few cans tonight, and that could work.
Darcy, thanks so much for joining us on Fox Footy. Enjoy a rest, enjoy the bye, and then we'll see you back in action against the Saints. I think it is in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, guys.
Well done, mate.
Noosa sounds good right now.
Doesn't it?
So does a few cans tonight.
Yeah, nice one.
You can do one but not the other. I think, Joey, the perfect pies at the end and their ability to take the ball inside 50 and just capitalise, Jace, to do something with it, which at different stages in the game was a problem for the Ds.
Yeah, and a lot of it's about decision making. It's about taking that little moment of time to sum up the best option, to look at what you can actually do and kick to percentage. Sometimes it mightn't be a perfect option, but they make the right decisions, and quite often it's the experienced player that's been there before and done that. And conversely, we saw Melbourne have opportunities where they just blazed away a couple of times.
It's their first position off half back. I think they create the turnover in the right spot, and it's that first position that starts the chain. Then they're all on the power run to the outer side of the ground, creating holes if they need to dart back on the 45, depending on stage of game, Joey.
And those numbers are also just conversion. They execute. They got talent. Now, Jamie Elliott's a beautiful kick. McStay, Bobby Hill, when they had their moments, they made the most of it and converted, and that was the difference.
If you're a young key defender, today was a great game to watch. You've got Melbourne's duo down back, but then also Collingwood, led by obviously the skipper Darcy Moore, but Jeremy Howe had a huge game.
Yeah, we heard Darcy Cameron talk about Melbourne's system behind the ball and how good he is, but Collingwood's the best in the competition. Their ability to read the cues, to work together as a back unit, you know, they trust each other. And Jeremy Howe led from the front. I thought this was a sensational game. He was on track almost for one of his career best games at three-quarter time. He had a couple kicked on him from Fritsch late in that fourth quarter, and maybe an influence as much as he liked, but his first three quarters were enormous. He's another one of these veterans that we just keep talking about that might not be sitting on heads anymore, but he's just playing with composure and poise and understanding of what the game needs, and he steps up week after week.
Super reliable performance by Jeremy Howe. We're going to head down to the rooms because Bobby Hill was playing game number 100 today, and he is going to catch up with Eddie Betts. They're not quite ready yet, but Bobby Hill, what a career it's been. Norm Smith medalist, obviously, 100 games today, and he was busy at times.
He was, and he's not that player that's going to be dominant over four quarters. He's an impact player. He'll kick you 3 quick goals or take a couple of spectacular marks. He'll do something that just gets the flow on going, and he did a couple of things today that were really, really important. I think he's become an incredibly important player for Collingwood. In the make-up to that, they've got everyone up forward gives them something a little bit different. You know, there's the workhorse in Myercheck. You get McStay who can take those big pack marks. Elliott's capable of just about anything. And then you get Bobby Hill who's got the speed at ground level. He can also mark in the air. They've just got great variety in their forward line.
It makes you nervous. Yeah. It makes you very nervous, Joey. I would hate to have that responsibility, get the tap on the shoulder. You got Bobby Hill this week.
His dancing feet are as good as anyone's in the competition.
All right, we're going to head down to Ed, who's ready now with Bobby.
Just down in the rooms here with Bobby Hill, 100th game, mate. Congratulations on the win. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feel good. To play one game and get to 100th, dream come true, and it's good to be here. From the Makepai Army and my family here as well.
So who from your family here? I saw Brad Hill over there, just sitting back with family. Who else is here?
Mum, dad, uncle, manager. Got Brad here as well. Probably a bit different in the environment here, but got him, and it's got a business partner here as well, Jordan, who runs the bar club. So it's good to have them, and obviously my kids here as well. Bob's running around thinking he owns a joint truck. It's good, and great to get a good win, and now we can trust up.
How did you feel out there? Obviously it's a close game, 1 point win, 1 goal, 2. You almost kicked the goal there. You turned to the crowd. They touched on the line, but
I turned around and looked like an idiot because I told one of the boys to shush. But I think it's good. Obviously, it's got to kick straight and rest up and kick straight and just keep going.
Well, even your old boys. You talk about Scott Penderbury, Jeremy Howe, still side bottom. Those boys are still kicking on strong. They're like a fine wine.
100%. I think even you could be still out here running around with us as well. But they're great leaders on field and off field as well, and just like another coach out there, just to put us boys in line and in positions, and they just make our job a lot easier when you've got those type of leaders on the field.
Well, mate, congratulations on 100 games, good win, and good luck for next week.
Thanks.
Keep going, brother. Keep chopping it.
Eddie Betts with the 100 gamer there, Bobby Hill. I'm glad to see Ed's thawed out. He was a little frozen on the boundary line today.
I think I saw him with gloves at one stage.
Yes. He was shivering the whole game.
Big freeze for Eddie Betts. All right, let's talk about Melbourne for a minute, because they played really, really well today, and they'll be heartbroken not to have gotten 4 points. Contested possessions, centre clearances, inside 50s, tick, tick, tick for Simon Goodwin.
The numbers will all tell you the effort was brilliant, the commitment was brilliant. They did enough to win the game, but they just lacked a little bit of composure and class to get them over the line against the Collingwood Football Club. That's the difference.
Max in the corner there speaking to the print media. It will be fascinating to get his take on what happened in that late exchange with Stephen May, and our very own John Ralph is there, so he will let Gary Lyon and Jared Waitley know exactly what was said, no doubt, on AFL 360, because it's a big talking point.
These are the dying seconds of the game. There's 40 seconds or something left on the clock. You've got to switch it. But I don't know if a one-step talk is the answer, but it just ends up being a mongrel punt that goes straight to Hoskin Elliott, and that's the game. So, look, they had a slim chance, if any. It was gone after that kick, and Stephen May went over and said something which Max didn't appreciate. He's going, come on, we had to take a risk, just can't wait. Give me a bit of space, and they'll talk about it once a little bit of heat goes out of it.
And clever from Melbourne to have Max speaking down in the rooms to just diffuse the situation. Joey, let us know what was said and let us know that all is good.
Spot on. Instead of everyone speculating, he can just put it straight, and I'm sure those guys have played a lot of footy together. They've been in those situations a lot. I'm sure they'll shake hands and move on from it, because they're both just disappointed that they played so well as a team but couldn't get the win.
And they were two of Melbourne's best players today.
They certainly were. So the Demons will play Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval next week, and Collingwood, they get the bye. It is a great chance for them, Jace, to just stop and reset.
It is. I think Collingwood, we know where they're going to be at the end of the year, but for Melbourne, they've set a benchmark. If they produce that sort of effort on a weekly basis, they'll win more games than they lose.
It was a pretty awesome day here. It was amazing to be part of it. The big freeze, everything for Neil Danaher, the Australian of the Year, and his wonderful family, the beanies and all the money that was raised from the slide. But we've got so much more coming up here on Fox Footy. Gary Lyon and Jared Waitley are standing by, ready to take the reins for AFL 360, and then a big On the Couch featuring the great Lee Matthews. It is one of the most important days on the footy calendar as the footy community throws our arms around the Danaher family and trying to raise money to fight MND.
It gets me quite emotional to be here on Big Freeze Day. This is our moment to have a lot of fun, to bring the community together and to still have Dad here.
All right, they're talking about the big freeze that was happening on there. Hey, what a game. Hey, did we not say we're going to be in for a ring? And ding, 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 ding. Final quarter, and that's exactly what we got, folks. 2 goals, 3. The Magpies kicked in that final term, 3 goals, 3. The Demons kicked in that final term, but of course it was the mighty Magpies. Good old Collingwood forever. We know how to play the game. Ja, ja, ja. 11-6, 72, the Magpies. 10-11, 71, the Demons. 21 scoring shots to 17. Just too good on the day where the Magpies, make no mistake. Make no mistake, Melbourne were fantastic today. That's the best I've seen Melbourne play this season. They put up a 4-quarter performance to, well, let's just say, to nearly toppling the premiership favourites, Collingwood, this year. But the Pies were just way too hot, Emmanuel. Way too hot. And that was a fantastic result in front of 77,700 people out there at the MCG on a chilly day. It was a great result. 4 byes in a row. It's pretty much like that. Yeah, the Pies have a bye. Then they play the Saints, Eagles and Carlton. Should be 3 wins coming up there. And they'll continue on their merry way. I don't think they have to. I think they said they only have to travel a couple of more times this season. That's good news for the Maggies. And, of course, when they end up finishing on top of the ladder, they'll get the home finals. It's going to be really hard to see the Magpies going under this year. So they'll get the bye off next week. They're definitely too chilly. So they'll definitely get the bye next week. They'll get a little bit of a chance to refresh. Not sure if Maynard will be back. We've still got Maynard to come back in the side. There we go. So a couple more players to come back in, which would be just fantastic. All right, let's go and have a look at the player stats and the goal scorers before we wrap it up. This fantastic day of football. Kaiser Pickett, Bailey Fritsch, can you believe it, for Melbourne, both scored 3 goals. All the leading goal scorers out on the ground today. Thulsup, Sparrow, Harrison Pretty, Jake Melsham with the singles for Melbourne for the mighty Magpies. Daniel McStay stood up strong. He kicked 2 for the Pies. The rest were all singles to side bottom. Maya Check, Membry, Bo McCreary, Ned Long, Bobby Hill. Congratulations on your 100th. Got the job done. William Hayes, Jamie Elliott, and of course Nick, the superstar Dacos, scored a goal. I tell you what, it was a fantastic match. We had a couple of players on 30 today, and of course Josh Dacos, best on ground, topped the table with 34, 25 kicks, 9 marks, 9 handballs, 11 marks, 2 tackles, 2 clearances. He was absolutely fantastic. Always got a calm, cool, collected head, makes fantastic decisions off half back there. He was fantastic. Clayton Oliver, he got 30. Look, he put in a little bit better effort, but he's still not out there with the confidence, composure of days gone by. Still, he led the way. Christian Petrarca was pretty good, also 26. And I did like, we'll get down to Max in a minute. Scotty Pendlebury, the old boy, steadied the ship with Steele in the final couple of minutes, 29. That's fantastic for the old boy. Well done, well done. Jeremy Howe, sensational down back. There we go, just keep going down. Ned Long, another good game from him, 21. Kicked 1-on-1. Maxi Gawn, I know he kicked it was about 38 seconds or so to go. He took the mark in the Magpies forward 50. Tried to get the ball moved on quickly with the torp. He went corridor away. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a missed kick. You know, you can't blame Maxi. Maxi gives Melbourne his 100% every week, week in, week out. And he was, he was disappointed in himself. But, sometimes you've got to take risk for reward. Unfortunately for that, didn't happen. But I tell you what, he is an elite player, Maxi Gawn. 20 possessions, 43 hit-outs, 6 clearances, 13 kicks, 7 handballs, and he did kick that behind when he nearly got the goal. It just went across the face of goal. Nick Dacos, well, Ed Langdon tore him apart in the opening half. He got going a little bit in the final quarter. He ended up with 19. Well done to Nick. 8 clearances, 1 goal, 1. So that was fantastic. He got going again. But Ed Langdon was just fantastic. I think if he had kept on, Nick Dacos the entire match with that matchup, it wouldn't have surprised me to see him get 1 Brownlow vote, even though Ed Langdon probably only ended up with a handful of possessions. Instrumental in keeping one of the stars of the game quiet. Darcy Morwood, 10. Bobby Hillwood, 10, as I said, 1 goal, 2 on his 100. So well done to him. I was just trying to find Ed Langdon, but I can't find him there somewhere. That's all right. Brody Mychek was really quiet today. Just 6 touches, 4 kicks, 1 goal for him. Jamie Elliott, well, didn't add to his Coleman medal. He's the goal kicking tally. He just got the 1. He was quiet, but I think Day, isn't it? Oh, Stephen May. I think it is Stephen May. I think that's his name. Oh my gosh, from Melbourne. I think he won that contest today. Always seemed to play in front of Elliott and get the job done on him. All right, let's go and have a look at some of the team stats. There we go. So the Magpies got out to a 41 plus in the disposal count, which was good. 54. Melbourne had plenty of inside 50s. They restricted Collingwood to just 45, so they were plus 9 in that department, Melbourne. So they're going to be pretty happy with that, where Collingwood usually goes in there a fair bit. Disposal efficiency, well, the Magpies up around good numbers at 76. Melbourne, they were a little bit lower than that at half-time. They picked up a bit, 66. Free kicks, there were a lot of free kicks today, 20-29. The umpires had a field day blowing their whistle. I think they'll be putting in a request for some new whistles after today's game. 49 free kicks in total. Hit-outs, of course, Maxi Gawn, the superstar, 47-21, plus 26 in the hit-outs. The clearances, Melbourne did the job. But sometimes it's your experience, your composure, making the right decisions out on the ground. Daniel C, how you going? Queen still. You don't know Aussie Coin? All right, there we go. Ding-a-ling. Ding-ding-a-ling. Ding-a-ling. No, not ding-a-ling. Ring-a-ding-ding. There we go. There we go. Oh, the King's birthday. Oh, King Ding-a-ling. Yeah. Now I understand. Well, I think it's called the King's holiday now. I don't think they call it the King's birthday. It used to be the Queen's birthday. Now I think it's just King's holiday. Anyway, it's a public holiday. We love them. We love the public holidays. Clearances +10 to Melbourne, there we go, +9 in Senate. Clearances, Melbourne dominating, +1 in the stoppage clearances. Contested possessions, Melbourne again. They led the numbers in a lot of these departments. There we go, 28 plus contested. Uncontested, Pies got on top there, plus about 67 or so. Turnovers, pretty high turnover game for both teams. And said, it's good pressure putting on. Of course, with the uncontested possessions, Collingwood controlling the ball a little bit more. 116.73, marks inside 50. We have Loonies and Tunes coin, $1 and $2. You're not wrong. There we go. Marks inside 50. Look, it was pretty tough. I know there was 6 to 11 marks inside 50 for the teams, but it was pretty hard going finding the marks inside 50, getting space. It was just on occasions where the teams opened up a little bit of space and they finally got some. Contested marks, Melbourne a bit better in the area. We go down to the tackle count though, 59 apiece. Not too bad, but tackles inside 50. Yeah, the pressure Melbourne brought today in their game, as I was saying before, the commentators were saying, it was really good. This is the best four-quarter game I've probably seen from the D's so far this quarter, this season, especially against a quality opposition in Collingwood. Only 7 for the Magpies, so they still need to look at that. Looking at the live ladder now as we reload that up. There we go. That has updated. All right. There we go. Still some teams going to have a bye next week. That's why we've still got some on 12 and 13. But as round 13 is completed, Emmanuel, as round 13 is completed, the mighty Magpies sit on top. Game and a half clear. Played 13, winning 11, losing 2. Don't forget, folks, Collingwood in the opening round got smashed by the GWS Giants, 104 to 52. People were thinking, the Pies, they're gone. They got the collywobbles after opening round. Well, there you go. Then they win a bunch. Then they won about 6, and I think they lost one to Geelong by about 3 points. Now they've won another 5 in a row. So the Magpies doing it well in season 2025, topping the table, 44 points. Game and a half clear of Brisbane, 38 points, which is just great. Adelaide Crows, 36. Geelong, 36. That rounds out your top 4. And, of course, you've got the Gold Coast Suns, Hawthorn, 32. And hot on their tails, of course, GWS Giants and Fremantle. But, these are probably the couple of teams that are vulnerable. Hawthorn winning, of course, on the weekend. Luckily, playing some of their best football gives them at least another week or 2 breathing. Western Bulldogs on the coattails of the top 8. And, of course, well, Melbourne, after today, down in 14th position. Certainly not a team that looks like they're a 14th position team after the way they played today. But they're now 2 games plus percentage outside. Anything could happen with Melbourne. I think if they get a good run on, they could certainly, run for the top 8 this season. These are probably the teams somewhere here that could sort of fall out. You never know with Fremantle's form. How they're going to go, GWS Giants, they're falling over a little bit at the moment. And the Western Bulldogs, if they hit their straps, they could get rolling as well. You just never know. So it's going to be really, really interesting, as I said. I think at least the top 2 are going to be set in the top 4 for the rest of the year. Adelaide Crows, Geelong, good chance. You can always count on the Catters because they're always pretty consistent. The Crows, well, we're just still going to have to wait and see. And as for the rest, well, that's going to be a raffle. But what a fantastic game, Daniel. Best match I've seen this year. It was absolutely fantastic. Sometimes we can see, exciting final quarters of games, but this game certainly had it all the way through the 4 quarters. Melbourne getting out on top early, Collingwood hitting back, dead level at quarter time, only 8-point margin at halftime to the Magpies. Melbourne bringing it back to 7 points and then back to 1 point. So there you go. There we go. So if you look at this, Collingwood won one quarter. Collingwood won one quarter. That was the second quarter. The only quarter Collingwood won was the second. Melbourne won the third and final quarter, and it was all tied up. Yet Collingwood still come out victors by one. So yeah, it was an absolutely ring-a-ding-ding game. Poor Melbourne deserve a better outcome. Well, next week Melbourne can if they want. As was said, we showed you who Collingwood are playing in the next few rounds. Of course, next week, it's no easy game for Melbourne next week, but it'll be a fantastic test because next Sunday, folks, Melbourne head over to Adelaide Oval. They're playing Port Adelaide there, 14th versus 15th next Sunday. That should be an interesting game to tune in on and have a look and see who's going to win that one. Because Port Adelaide had that win, don't forget, over GWS Giants up there at Manica Oval. So Port Adelaide were reasonably good. So that's going to be a fantastic game. You would, if you're a Melbourne supporter, I think you'd actually be heading over to Port Adelaide and be hoping to win that game, or expecting with the form, especially of this week, they could certainly do the job over at Port Adelaide there. So it's going to be a fantastic round. And of course, that's next week for Melbourne, and the week after for Melbourne, they have a bye. So that's going to be pretty hard. And then of course they got the Gold Coast Suns at the Gold Coast. Gold Coast is so hard to beat up there. So it's going to be a long road ahead for Melbourne this season. Even if they had won today, I think it could have been a long road ahead. No doubt about that. But for the Magpies, it's all strawberries and chocolates. Looking like heading towards the second part of this season. There we go, 71-72. Collingwood take a rest next week. Enjoy the break, freshen up, and get ready back out to play St Kilda, West Coast, and then Carlton. 3 games that they should certainly win. All 3 of those games. You never know against Carlton. Carlton are reasonably good, but we know Carlton aren't that brilliant in the second half. So Collingwood should get the job done in the next 3. So should be pretty good for the Magpie supporters out there for the next month ahead. Should be just fantastic. A lot of things to look forward to. But that 1 week at a time. But hey, we can just glance at the future just for a little bit. It should be fantastic. Hey, why not? You gotta love it. Gotta love it the way where they're sitting at the moment. Don't forget football next week. It all kicks off again next Thursday night. Hey, here's a fascinating game next Thursday. We've got some good games next week. Next Thursday night football, Marvel Stadium. St Kilda take on the Western Bulldogs, 12th versus 9th. Super important game there for both teams, especially the Western Bulldogs. And of course, Friday night football, they're playing that down in Tasmania. University of Tasmania Stadium in Launceston. Hawthorn taking on the Adelaide Crows. That's going to be a fantastic game as well. There we go, 190 and 194. Both teams pretty favourite for that game. Should be a cracking game. And then, of course, next Saturday, we've got Brisbane Lions taking on the GWS Giants up there at the Gabba. I think that should be a good win up there for Brisbane. We've got Essendon taking on the Geelong Cats at the MCG. Hey, this could be a tighter game than we expect, even though Essendon's going into that game at $4.60. $1.20 the Geelong Cats. That's going to be a cracking game also. Essendon played reasonably well. We expect Geelong to win, but it'll be a good game. You just never know. And, of course, Saturday evening, you've got, a game that's, another interesting game. North Melbourne playing Fremantle at Optus Stadium in Perth. Are North Melbourne selling their home games again? What's going on? Am I reading that right? Or is that an error? It says here, Optus Stadium Perth, North Melbourne versus Fremantle next Saturday night. And of course, next Sunday to wrap up round 14, we've got 2 games on. Port Adelaide taking on Melbourne over there at Adelaide Oval. And to finalise it, West Coast Eagles will take on Carlton in Perth. So that should be another fantastic game. A lot of interesting games coming up next week. But geez, I tell you what, Collingwood has a couple of pasty games coming up. Easy wins. You would think so. Who do you support, Daniel? It's a good question. He probably supports the Pies like the rest of us. Well, they should. You know, even though we think they're soft, easy games to win, St Kilda, West Coast, Carlton, you just can't afford to take any sides too easy. You just can't afford to take teams easy, or else it could come back to bite you on the butt big time. Because, if a team's on, they can really fire. I mean, just have a look at Melbourne today. Melbourne put in 4 great quarters against Collingwood and, nearly got the job done. It was a flip of the coin. It was just a bounce of the ball. It was just, if Max's kick had gone different, Kaiser Pickett, have a look at him. He got caught holding the ball, and instead of giving it back to Nick Dacos, he decided to put the ball on the ground, gave a 50-metre penalty away. Nick Dacos scores the goal. If he had handed the ball back, maybe Melbourne wins. You just don't know. So it's just all small moments. That's why you've got to take each team seriously, perform to your best each week, and try to not give the opposition a chance. That's just the way it goes. We've seen it in a few weeks. From the past, we see teams that we expect to win, and we go, you know what? Sometimes teams just have an off day. And this is what happens. So I think sometimes, it happens to everyone. Collingwood's probably had their off day in the opening round where GWS doubled their score, 104 to 52, the Magpies. So that could have been their off day in the opening round. But, it'd be interesting to see how they come back after the break, after the bye, the Magpies, when they get back and play St Kilda. St Kilda will be pretty hungry. If we look on the ladder, St Kilda are there sitting on 20 points. So St Kilda happen to win next week. They'll go to 24, and then they'll be knocking on the door to the 8. So it'll be, St Kilda will be out there to play hard and play to win. They'll be throwing everything at the Pies. And as we know, most teams when they come up and play against Collingwood, their football seems to lift. And they just seem to play better football when they play the Magpies for some reason. Maybe it's just because they're playing against the big stage and they're always playing against mega crowds out there. Some of these lesser sides that might get 15,000 crowd, all of a sudden they're playing against 60, 70,000 crowds, and it just brings the hype up within each player, and it gives them that bit more, the adrenaline just keeps kicking in. So it's really interesting. I don't know why for years I've watched AFL. I've liked Collingwood. I think it's maybe because they were on TV the most here in Canada back then. Oh, there we go. Sometimes some of the better teams, some of the more informed teams, they do structure the, some of the good sides on telecast, Thursday, Friday night football, etc. like that. Because the broadcasting, they want viewers, like everyone, they want viewers to TV, etc. like that. So they want the numbers up, and they want the people to get in there and watch. So there's no point in putting, a couple of bottom sides on Friday night football. They're just not going to get the audience in there. So they've got to put the good teams in there, with the monster supporter base, such like that. And they know that they're going to draw crowds. So, like anyone, it's a bit of a business, but yeah, I was always happy when the Magpies used to play a little bit on, free-to-air TV before I got KO. And of course, I thought to myself, you know what, I love watching the footy, and I want to watch the Maggies. So I thought, you know what, I'll just get KO, or Fox as you might know it as, but yeah, KO here, so I can watch all the footy, and it's just fantastic. It's better to have off games before you got to have off games before the finals. Look, as long as you don't have an off game, probably 2 to 3 weeks running into the finals, you can probably have an off week, before there, but you want to be pretty strong and mentally fit with no off games. Within 2 to 3 games before the final, you want to go in there, 1,000% positive, or with the confidence that you're going to perform really, really well, do all the team things, team structures well, and consistently will do those. And I think, that's what they're saying. When players, alternate within the Magpie team, their structure and their processes are in place that well, most of them, they can just do that role. I know, there are class factors of players changing and chopping, and that comes down to, some of the decisions making by those individual players out there. But most of the time, the process of the Pies game plan is pretty good, pretty strong, and it holds up pretty well against most teams. Time management by the Pies is of the scale. Hey, Doon, how you going? Well, funny you say that, because now they've got the bye. If they want, they could play like Pendlebury side bottom. They can play them as a sub and bring them in, to play a half a game, stuff like that. But I think over the next few weeks, they may do that. They may give them a little bit another break. They've got the bye coming up next week, so they can have a couple of days off. And as I said, they've got St Kilda, and then the game after that is possibly when they may, manage some of the players again when they play West Coast Eagles. I think they play that. Here at home, so they might do that. I don't know whether they really need to manage the players after within the final 2 to 3 games of the home and away season. I think they'll like to have the team up there and running the full squad. Eagles aren't going too well. Yeah, they got. I think they're still in their rebuilding structure. They've got a long, long way to go, the Eagles. A long, long way to go. Or maybe 10. Yeah, I don't know. I think, look, the old boys, they'll definitely manage their players, and I think they've done it pretty well so far this season. And you know what? When you see Pendles and still side bottom, because they're probably the ones they manage the most, being the older boys. I tell you what. My gosh, still side bottom. He doesn't slow down. He runs. He just runs the entire game that you see. He's not one that's like runs out of legs. So he's probably, for my opinion, I think this is some of the best football I've seen side bottom play this season. Throughout all the time I've watched, Side bottom used to be one of those players that was just like an outer player that used to just receive ball and whatnot, but now he's in there, he's doing a lot more to his game. And I think this is the best still side bottom's actually probably played in his career. He might say the same thing. Scotty Pendlebury, I tell you what, he's got the calmest, coolest head on him out there. He is so valuable out on the ground. Flashes Transport, how you going? Said g'day. You're a hawk from Scotland, but I can't help admiring good footy. Nice, Doon. Good to see you from Scotland. Cheers. Under Buckley, they were gone. I think, Buckley probably just had a whole different game plan process and that. And I think, he may have, just the way he connected with his players. He might have had his players, but he certainly connects different than how Fly connects with his players of today, and he's certainly got that structure. I think Craig McRae's the best coach in the competition by a long, long, long way. I think he's just an exceptional coach. And from what he's done, he's brought a team that's sort of had not really that much guidance, I think, with structure and everything, but he's just got the process down pat now, and I think every player is just super excited when they get in the team and to play under him. I think they love him. They love him. That is for sure. Richmond the GOAT. You like Richmond? I tell you what, Richmond aren't too bad. I don't mind Richmond. We don't worry about how many wins and losses Richmond get this season because they're just an up and coming with a lot of youngsters. But I do like the way they play. Always giving it a fair bit. I know they got well beaten in this round. They did play a fantastic opening quarter. and then they just got completely run over in the final 3 quarters. But a young side, they're going to probably tire out a little bit, don't forget, as well, coming into the back half of the season. So I think Richmond have got a bright future. We'll see what other players they can add to their list as well, which would be good. Thank goodness we all have... Oh, you got Lepage at the club also. Yeah, Lepage is good. I tell you what, they've got a good squad down there at Magpie Land. It's probably the best they've been for some years, I think. Even Malthouse, I think, people used to say he was just a fantastic coach. I think he was fantastic at play development. I don't know whether he was that brilliant at the coach like Craig McRae. I think Craig McRae is one of the smartest coaches, that we'll probably possibly ever see. I think a little bit like, who are the other couple? Gary Ayres was pretty good as well. Gary Ayres and Paul Roos was good as well, along with Craig McRae. They were just sensational. The best since 27-30. If I was setting up against the Pies, I'd tag side bottom. The guy is a heartbeat. Tell you what, yeah, that's true. I mean, the problem with tagging... You can't tag every player. So one of Collingwood's best players, Nick Dacos Doon, tonight was tagged, and he was absolutely and he was well beaten. That doesn't often happen. Sure, he got into the game a little bit later, but I think he changed opponent. But the thing is, you can't tag everyone. You can't tag every player. That's the problem. I don't know whether I'd be tagging. I don't know whether I'd be tagging him, but I think they've got it right on tagging the Nick Dacos. And they could probably even do a little bit of tag on Josh Dacos because he's dangerous as well. But there's just so many players. Who do you tag? Yeah, there you go. I think Nick Dacos is probably one of the most dangerous around the ball, so they've got to tag him. The system is unbelievable. That's it. I mean, it's the same. You can't, even for Collingwood, when they go up against their opposition, they can sort of target one player and tag. It's just so hard to tag more than one, possibly 2 players. That's about it. Or else you just take too much out of your side. You still got to be, be an attacking team, play attacking football. Because with Ed Langdon, who tagged Nick Dacos tonight, Ed Langdon only had a handful of possessions. So you're cancelling out sort of one player for one player, but we're still got to realise the rest of the team around them are doing their job. I wouldn't tag Nick or Penn. No, a side run that gets the engine moving, stop him and the engine stalls. Just my opinion. Maybe. But I tell you what, have a look at some of those games where Nick is electrifying out of the stoppages, out of the centre, gets that clearance straight down to the forwards. He's the man who normally does that. I know side bottom and Pendles, they can sort of work in tandem and work really good off the centre bounce. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But for mine, I think that's definitely the best tag is Nick Dacos, to tag him and try and stop him. They move the magnets around though, but it's just so hard. It's hard to tag everyone, and not everyone can do that role as a tagger. You got to be that special type of player to be a fantastic tagger, and Ed Langdon certainly did that job. We're seeing a little bit of tagging going on over the past few weeks on certain players, and it seems to be effective on shutting some of these stars down in teams. So it's the only chance the team has against the Pies, and you're right, you're loaded I tell you what, yeah, the Pies have got good players, pretty much across the ground. It is just hard to put a tag on, and I think the opposition they just put the tag on the person that they think is going to be the most dangerous, and against their team. Nick Dacos, he's shown that since he started playing that he's super dangerous, and that's why they tag him. I think a couple of times he's been tagged. And I think the Attaga has definitely had the better of him for the opening half in both of those games. And then in the first time he got tagged, I think then he unleashed in the second half. I can't remember what team that was against. And in tonight's game, I think he did all right after Ed Langdon got off him, but he still wasn't super damaging, but it was still good. He got into that game and he raises the belief of him, and that sort of spreads out to the rest of the players as well. So, that's where it all comes in. So it's just fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, but I tell you what, you got to love the brothers playing. Nick and Josh Dacos, star players, and I think Josh Dacos doesn't get nearly as high accolades as Nick, and I think Josh is a super important player, just the same as Nick. So it's fantastic. But there's great players across the board, and that's what we're happy about. I was thinking that before. I was thinking, in a few years' time, when these players aren't in a Collingwood team, the players have all changed, we'll probably think to ourselves, you know what? Geez, we had some star players. We had a great lineup of all these players, and I think it's only years down the track when you realise how good the players is. It's a little bit like the Brisbane of old, their team. The Geelong of old, their players, and you look back and you go, geez, those players were good. I think that's what they'll see about Collingwood in 2024, 2025. But the Pies certainly playing probably the best brand of football I've seen them for years, probably much forever. I think they're a better team than when they won the flag, just the way their processes and everything go. I think they're a better team than 2023. Last year, 2024, I think they could have just about won the flag, but they were just super hurt by injuries last year. But that's the thing, you've got to be injury-free going into September if you're going to perform, because you want your best ones there. All right, folks, hey, that's enough from me on this coverage. Hey, thanks everyone for popping on in. What a fantastic day, the King's Holiday Football, the big freeze at the MCG, where the mighty Magpies got up over the Demons by one solitary behind. I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than winning by 1 point. All right, folks. Hey, thanks, Dune. Thanks, Emmanuel, for coming in again. Always good to see you boys there. Flashes Transport, good on you. Thanks, Tina. Adrian, thanks for popping on in. Ali was in there. I missed Ali. How you going? And everyone else. Paul dropped on in. Cinnabon was there. There we go. Everyone was there. M. King, good on you. Go Pies. All right, folks, good result. Enjoy your night, buddy. Enjoy yours as well. Thanks for popping in. Hey, next time we'll do live on the footy will be next Thursday evening, if you want to come along and join in on that. Next Thursday evening, 7:30 p.m. Melbourne time. So around about this time, about another half an hour forward, and it'll be that time. So you know pretty much exactly when we'll be doing it. Next Thursday night, St Kilda will be taking on the Western Bulldogs. That should be a fantastic game. Marvel Stadium. But another one. All right, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone. Well done, everyone in the chat. Well done, Magpies. Whew, what a nail biter. We can breathe now. We can breathe a sigh of relief. We got that one done and dusted and over and out. Yeah, we're happy team at the Magpie Land. All right, folks. Hey, thanks a lot once again. And to everyone who came on in on the coverage today. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate your thumbs up, your like, and all that type of jazz. Don't forget, if you've got friends who want to come and listen to the footy while we're here, and they can have a chat in the live chat as well while we're covering it. You know, even if you're watching the game live on TV, you can still open it up on your phone and have a chat with everyone. It's always good fun. Always good fun. So there we go. All right. Hey, I'm out of here. Thanks, everyone. Ciao for now, and we'll see you at the next game.